Everyone, and welcome to our match reaction show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. What a terrible result that was. Some of us were predicting a landslide type of victory. Scores like 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 was the expectation, and that was far from the truth. Liverpool drew 2-2 against Manchester United at Anfield today. So let's go through the key moments of the game. We'll then present the player ratings and also give you guys the platform to call in and have your say. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, feel free to hit the link that's pinned in the live chat and I will get you on in due course. So let's start with our match review. The first half wasn't played with a lot of intensity, if I'm being honest. But despite that, I believe Liverpool had a lot of control in the game and also produced moments to break the deadlock. Gakpo had an opportunity in the early part of the game where he was through on goal and hit a shot with his outside of his boot. And at that moment, he just missed the post. Maybe he should have gone with his left foot. But having said that, I don't think he would have been confident with his weaker foot there. Close effort nonetheless. Then McAllister had a wonderful half volley, which was blocked by Onana. Lovely dig pass by Mohamed Salah. Gravenberch produces a great moment as he skips past Menu with complete ease, drives with the ball, has a shot from the edge of the box, but unfortunately drags it wide. But let's be honest, the best chance of the first half came to Manchester United. Sandro Martinez hits a long ball over the top. Trent was caught napping, allowed Hoyland to be onside. He's through on goal, has a shot, but in the end was blocked by Allison. Second half, the game flipped the switch when Manchester United took the lead. The opening goal, yet again, lazy defending from Trent Alexander-Arnold to let Bruno Fernandes walk past him with the ball, tight inside, and ends up resulting to him threading the ball towards Martinez. He hits a thumping shot, crossbar and in to make it 1-0. Liverpool respond, and what a goal it was. McAllister hits the free ball to the Dutchman in terms of goalie Gakpo. He kicks it inside and smashes the ball into the top corner. Fantastic strike, and that moment it was just what we needed. But then moments later, Manchester United concede a penalty as the lit blatantly blocks the ball with his hand. Mohamed Salah steps up and smashes it low and hard to give Liverpool the lead. At that time, you're thinking Liverpool needs to manage the game and take the edge out of the game as it was being played with a bit more emotion, a bit more ferocity. But Liverpool concede a goal. Garnacho hits a low cross towards the 6-yard box. Diallo gets ahead of Robertson and hits a low shot that rolls into the back of the net. There were a couple moments before the game closed that could have led to winning goals for both teams. The first came from Liverpool, where Van Dijk had a header from a point blank range that happened from a corner kick. Sorry, unfortunately, he didn't apply enough power on the header whatsoever. And then in the last minute, Harry Maguire has an amazing opportunity. The whole goal to aim at. He instead hits the ball over the bar. Thankfully for us, it didn't go in, and that was the end of the game. So overall, I'm still very disappointed with the performance and the result. We did produce enough chances to get the win today, especially as we were leading 2-1 with 20 minutes remaining. But the two goals that we conceded were quite awful to watch. Very unlike Liverpool. And unfortunately, individual errors cost us again today. No need to be around the bush. We'll talk about players individually very shortly. But let's give the opposition some credit. Yes, Manchester United deployed a low block, and why wouldn't they? They're in a terrible position right now in terms of the lead. They were 14th earlier before the game. They've been in terrible form, and the odds were against them to get anything from this game. Defensively, I think they did a great job, which surprised me with the players that they were selected. But in the end, Amram had the right game plan to derail the current leaders. And quite frankly, they may feel slightly annoyed that they didn't go on and nick the win with Harry Maguire's last minute shot. And I know they're our rivals, but I'm a football man, so I have to give credit to the opposition. So credit to United. I think they did deserve at least a point today. In terms of Liverpool, I think they just about did enough or at least get a point. I don't think they deserve the win. But look, let's stay positive. It's not the end of the world right now. Liverpool are still in a great position in the league table. We are 6 points clear with a game in hand. Arsenal drawing yesterday helped us as well. So we haven't lost any leverage with regards to our position in the league. So no damage was done today. Unfortunately, our pride is a little bit hurt. That's probably the main thing. The difference between our fan base is that when we draw, we feel like it's a loss. Whereas Manchester United, if they get a point against Liverpool, it's utopia. There's pure jubilation, just like it was last season when they beat us in the FA Cup. And look, there's levels to this. But I'm still disappointed that, we've let them go on to get something out of the game because they were on a losing streak. They only lost 3 games on the bounce, and now we've given them a bit of hope after this result. And that doesn't sit well with me. We shouldn't be that charitable team to help another team springboard their season. But hey, look, it's football. It is what it is. We take the point and we move on from here. And that is the match review, I guess. Let's do the player ratings and discuss individual performances in more detail. As I mentioned earlier, this is a call-in show. So if you'd like to come on and have your say, a link is pinned in the live chat. I'll bring on callers after the player rating. So let's share the graphics and let's go through the lineups together. So Allison actually had a decent game for me. He had to produce a number of chances. In terms of the first half, he had to produce quite a few. He made that block in the first half, uh, where Hoyle went on through on goal, of course. And then in the early parts of the second half, he had to do a low. I forgot who the player was that shot, but it was a low shot, and he had to parry the ball away. So he was called upon quite a few times. So I actually thought, from his point of view, in terms of goalkeeping, he had a decent game. Obviously, the 2 goals that we conceded, is it debatable that maybe should have saved them? The Martinez one, I don't think so. In my personal opinion, I know it's close range, but it was crossbar and in. So those type of thumping shots at such short distance, they're very hard to save. So I wouldn't blame him or put him at fault for that one. And the second one, I think it was all chaos going on from that left hand side. And once Diallo had that shot, didn't have the purest of contacts, but he had enough accuracy to try and guide it towards the bottom corner. And unfortunately, Alisson was probably left a bit flat-footed. So that one might be argued that he should have done better, but that wouldn't be the reason why I put blame on him for this game. I think defensively we were quite poor. We were not reacting to those type of moments, in my opinion. So for this game, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I think he produced saves when it was called upon, and there might be moments where, if he didn't make the right sort of save, could have led to more goals being conceded. Not that they had a lot of chances, but that Hoyland one could have gone in, and that could have changed the whole outcome of the game. So for me, eh, 8 out of 10 for Allison. Um, let's talk about Trent. Very poor game from Trent Alexander-Arnold, to say the least. Defensively, very, very poor. Both of the goals, for me, he was at fault at. So the first one, well, three of the goals actually. Let's talk about the Hoyland effort in the first half. That was lazy defending from his part in terms of positionally. He just stayed in one position, didn't look across his line to see where the other defenders are. You need to move as a collective when it comes to pushing up in a highlight. He didn't do that. That could easily have led to a goal. It was a one-on-one situation. Had Hoyland been, in a bit more formal, had a bit more composure, that could easily have been a goal. So that one for me, was a sign that he was going to have a poor game because before that he wasn't too bad in terms of his forward play. That moment I feel like completely shocked his confidence. And yeah, it went from bad to worse after that. The first two goals, oh, the first two goals. So with regards to the first goal, apologies, yeah. Is my connection still there? Yes. Sorry, I got a notification that my connection went. So in terms of the first goal, yeah, for me, he was definitely at fault. To allow Bruno Fernandes to come inside, and Fernandes didn't really run at pace or anything. He literally walked in inside the box and then fed the through ball to Martinez. He tried to cover up and challenge Martinez, but at that stage he was just doing it for show. He wasn't really tracking a man. He was found in no man's land. He was in between both players, gave up on the tackle on Fernandez, and then didn't really try to tackle Martinez when he went through on goal. So for me, lazy defending there again. And then the second goal as well, due to his positioning where he was a bit too further up, it basically meant Konate had to go out of position and try and do a one-on-one moment with Garnacho. Obviously, Garnacho hit an early cross, but Trent was in that central position. The ball went past him, and then it went past Van Dijk. And Robertson, coming from his left back position, tried to cover, but at that time was too little, too late. He didn't cover the ground, and Diallo just about nicked in a shot and scored a goal. So all of these players, I guess, were at fault, but it comes down to what was the original error, which was Trent's positioning, and not really covering his centre back because his centre back always covers him. It should have been the other way around in this moment. So poor defending, but not only that, even moments before that, he gave the ball away. And today was one of those games where it's very unlike Trent, where he was giving away simple passes. Like obviously he's extraordinary when it comes to his passing range, but simple passes down the line, went out for throw-ins, he was slicing passes, giving the ball away far too many times. He was just all over it today. And I have to be honest, let's not be around the bush. I do think the Real Madrid rumors have gone to his head. It's affected his game. It's affected his preparation, his concentration to the game because he was just not focused today. He really wasn't. Like you can just tell things were, you know, just from his expression of his face, just looks like he wasn't on it. He was just something was bothering him. So I don't know, maybe, this might sound very silly, but maybe he's seeing the responses on social media about this Real Madrid move, how fans have gone against him, how fans have been going at his family and all that sort of stuff. You're human at the end of the day. So if you're going out my family, then I'm going to feel a certain type of way. So why can't Trent feel the same thing? So he might not feel loved right now. So he's probably thinking, is it worth him pursuing another contract at this club? I have to consider this now. So I've already said on previous shows, I think the reaction regarding these rumors have been a bit over the top. Nothing is concrete right now, so you gotta let the I guess things die down. And once we get clarification, we can definitely go full throttle and then give our opinions about the situation. But in terms of this performance, I have to be honest, I do think the Real Madrid rumors affected him. He didn't have the best of games in before that Hoyland effort, in my opinion. So for me, not a great day in the office. But would my stance be, oh, get rid of him in the window? No. For me, Trent has to stay. If he decides to leave at the end of the season, so be it. It is what it is. But for me, I'm not allowing this team to be weakened because a player wants to leave or his head's not in the right place. He needs to be professional and focus on Liverpool Football Club, and then he'll get his move. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. So for me, in terms of his performance today, I'm going to give him 4 out of 10. So I'm gonna say that's me being nice right there, but I'll leave it at that. Donate, first game back after about 6, 7 weeks out, and I think he did really well. I just feel for him a little bit because he started the game with a knee brace on. I saw at halftime he had a huge cut on his other knee. So yeah, his knees are in some shape right now, to be fair. But he had to put in a shift today, and I don't know if that's good for his long-term future this season because he's just come back from injury. You don't want him picking up small muscle injuries here and there. But yeah, he made a lot of blocks, covered ground for Trent, and yeah, he had a solid performance today. Really good to see him back in action. I probably would rest him in the next two. Well, it depends who we play, but I'll probably rest him in the upcoming fixtures. I don't think he needs to play every game now. We need to manage his minutes, and then once we feel like he's fully up to speed, then we can play him a bit more regularly. So, in terms of his performance, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I thought he was really solid today. His partner in crime there, Van Dijk, for me, didn't have the best of games. If I'm being brutally honest, there were quite a few moments where I felt like his passing was a bit amiss. His decision making with those passes were not right. Um, didn't win everything in the air. I know that's probably a bit harsh because everyone doesn't win everything in the air, but Van Dijk normally does. So I don't feel like he was as dominant in the air as he normally is. And he also had a couple of chances from set pieces, especially that last minute one. I think he should have done better and buried that ball into the back of the net. So I could tell he was frustrated today, not down to his individual performance, but as a defensive unit, we were all over the place. And he was really trying his best to get it together, make sure everyone is aligned. Fortunately, this wasn't working. And Trent was probably getting a bit of a rollicking from him, and rightly so, because Trent was just awful from his defensive point of view. But I was talking about Trent now. So in terms of Van Dijk's score, I'll give him a 7.5 out of 10. I think Konate was superior to him slightly today. Robertson had a very average game, to be honest with you. Defensively was okay, but still makes me nervous in one-on-one duels and making clearances. Is not quite, gives me that confidence like I normally used to have whilst watching Robertson. The second goal, I know he had to cover a lot of ground to try and block Diallo, but Diallo's his man. So for me, he should have done better then and should have done better by blocking that shot. His reactions from a defensive point of view are deteriorating and it's quite evident. And that's what's costing, you know, his reputation a little bit. And that's why fans are against us, against him more so than anything else, because he's, letting attackers get past him with ease right now. And unfortunately, that's not going to stand well for his long-term future at the club. But in terms of today, I don't think it was it was bad as Trent, but it wasn't in the same league. Trent was awful today. But in terms of Robertson's performance, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. Now on to Gravenberch. I thought Gravenberch was decent today. Few times though where he gave the ball away, especially passing it to Trent. Passes that he should be, bread and butter sort of stuff. But showed moments of good play with his half turn, gliding past Manu quite a few times, um, and playing a bit more advanced in terms of positional sense, trying to get involved in the build-up play. So overall, I think he had a solid game. Was it his best game? No, by no stretch of the imagination. But in terms of his performance today, I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. McAllister was sublime today. Really, really good today. Very impressive how he performed. Provided his assist for Gakpo's goal. Almost scored himself in the first half of a half volley. His passing range was really good. That's why I thought in the first half we were in control of the game due to McAllister's passing range, being that deep playmaker in the team. And in the second half, I feel like he was definitely the one that gave me that positivity where he had a lot of forward passes, wasn't just playing sideways for the sake of it. So strong performance today. And for me, probably the best player on the pitch um, altogether, not just in Liverpool. I think he was better than Fernandez. So for me, he gets a 9 out of 10 today. Jones, unfortunately, wasn't so great today. In the first half, he did well in terms of keeping hold of the ball, um, in terms of ball retention and keeping it neat and tidy. In the second half, he was pretty much missing. There were quite a few occasions, unfortunately, where he was surrounded by two, three players, and I think that was a tactical um, deployment by Amarim to close up shop on Jones, so he's not leading the front in terms of the press. Because normally, suppose I would do that. Obviously, that was Jones's role today, and because of that, that led to Jones losing the ball quite low, and it led to counter attacks being created for Manchester United. So not the best of performances from Jones. Definitely below par. So in terms of his performance today, unfortunately, I'm going to give him a 5 out of 10. Moving on to Mohamed Salah. I think he was better in the second half. First half, he was all right. He wasn't bad. He wasn't good. There was just moments where I feel like he could have been involved a lot more in terms of the final output. Second half, I feel like once we got a goal, I think the intensity level just went a bit high, and he was a reflection of that. He was attacking the wing a lot more, tightening field, having one or two shots here and there. So I definitely feel like he improved in the second half, and obviously got the goal that helped us get the lead at that moment in time. So not the best of performances, but he delivered when required. But having said that, I don't think a lot of players, did great today, in my opinion. So for Salah, I'm going to give him 7.5. Pretty much boosted his rating a little bit higher due to the goal. But yeah, an average day in terms of his overall performance, in my opinion. Gakpo was a little bit better, in my opinion, got a lot more involved in comparison to Mohamed Salah. The goal was absolutely sensational. What a strike it was. Captain Field put the lid to ground and it smashed it into the top corner. Fantastic goal. And at the time, it was Jota and Darwin Núñez that were coming on. And I was pleased that Gakpo wasn't taken off because I feel like out of all of our forwards, he was the one that looked like our brightest spark, in my opinion. So I thought he had a good game. In terms of the first half, I feel like with Gakpo, I want him to be a bit more aggressive, show a bit more urgency in the opening half. I feel like in the second half, that's where he seems to turn up a little bit. I want him to do that from the first minute and just be a bit more aggressive in his play. But in terms of what he produced, I think he took the ball in play, tried to create attacks from the left hand side. So I would say he had a good performance today. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. Diaz, unfortunately, wasn't as impactful as he has been in previous games. I do like him in that central role, but today, United had their tactics spot on. There were moments in the opening 20, 30 minutes where he got a bit of joy, you know, roaming around the pitch in sort of whatever position he wanted to take up. And then there'll be moments where he would drop deep as a number 9. But I feel like once United understood what he was trying to do, they used their physicality to their strengths. So, i.e., I remember Delit and Maguire going on him with crunching tackles, and that affected his game. After that, he didn't get involved as much. And after that, especially in the second half, I thought he was less impactful. And that's probably why Arnold took him off in replacement for Darwin Núñez because we needed a bit more of a better focal point. Not that Darwin Núñez provided that, in my opinion, but we just needed something of a different outlook going forward. So for me, not his best of games, but still did a decent shift. So I'll give him a 7 out of 10. And that is my player rating now in terms of man of match. You can see who's got the highest score there. So it's none other than Alexis McAllister. Good performance here from Argentina. Really pleased with him. So that is my rating. I'm just going to bring on the subs and then go through their rating. So Darwin Núñez came on for Diaz. And then we also have Jota came in plays for Jones. Harvey Elliott for Gakpo. and the last sub was like for like. Trent Alexander-Arnold for Connor. Right, there we go. So just swap these two in their natural position. So let's start with Darwin Núñez. Wasn't very impactful when he came on, if I'm being brutally honest. I remember one moment where we hit them on the counter attack with Jota, and then he laid it up to Núñez, and not sure what Núñez did, but all I saw was him just dropping to ground, and the attack went from there on. So very little impact. I expected more from him. He was actually a sub that I didn't highlight that I wanted to come on the pitch. I didn't feel like the game suited him, but I understood why Ancelotti did bring him on to try and, you know, press from the front. But I think all he did was flash into delay and drop to ground in 1 or 2 moments. So didn't really have an impactful game in my opinion. So I'll give him a 5 out of 10, an average rating there. Um, Jota came on. I was quite pleased when he came on to replace Curtis Jones because then I thought Arnold's gone for a very attack-minded substitution there. Normally with number 10, you would have gone for Elliot or Szoboszlai if he was available. Jota's not really a number 10, he's more of a wide forward slash striker. So having him in the number 10 role for me was a good selection from Arne Slot. I remember him playing against West Ham and completely destroying them in that number 10 role. So I've seen him do it a couple of times. I thought maybe he could have done a job today. He did all right. Nothing, that was spectacular. Had a couple of moments where, he had great half chances to have shots from distance, but unfortunately couldn't really trouble the keeper today. So in terms of his rating, I'll give him a 6 out of 10. But it's good to see him actually another attacking option for our upcoming games. And then who else do we have? Like, it's Conor Bradley. So I think Conor Bradley should have come on a lot earlier than he did. Firstly, that's one thing I want to make it clear because I feel like he came on too late. When he came on, straight away made an impact. Did a crunching channel. I think it was on Garnacho on the left side, and then almost scored a goal on the other end. When that happened, I thought maybe he should have held the ball up a bit longer and then try and lay off to Salah because Salah was screaming for a pass after that moment had happened. But when I looked at the replay from his angle, there wasn't a play in sight for him to pass. So the right decision was for him to go for goal because we've got a shaky keeper in front of us in Onana who is, produces a lot of calamity type of moments and was so close to scoring in that near post. He's needed to apply a bit more power, a bit more conviction, and that would have gone in. So for me, good cameo from Conor Bradley. I still don't think he's the answer for us in terms of right back. I feel like it's not me saying this, I want this to happen, but if Trent was to leave Liverpool this season, I would want another right back to come in, and then that new right back and Conor Bradley would fight for a place in the first team. I don't think he just deserves to get that automatic promotion, but he has shown he has the quality. So in terms of today's performance, it's a 7 out of 10. So that is my player rating. Uh, what I'll do now is I'll bring on. I see we've got a couple of callers there, so we'll bring them on. We'll bring on. Let's bring them together. Actually, why not? Bring on JK, and we'll bring on 12. How you doing, guys?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good.
After what we had to watch today.
Yeah, it's been a crazy game. Give me your thoughts. First 12 man, then JK can follow.
Um, Look, disappointing to say the least. There was a high bar to be met because I think today anything short of a blowout was going to be a loss in a lot of people's minds. So that definitely isn't easy. Um, uh, the wasn't ideal conditions, but I mean,
Yeah,
obviously the other team has to play in those conditions also. So it's not that I'm saying that we lost because of the weather,
yeah,
but all the same, it's one of those cases where I just thought I wish I could have seen more fight from our team today. To be honest with you, I don't think that I think that they looked at this having known what they did to this team at Old Trafford. I think that they walked into this game on some walking on cloud nine, I guess you could say, going into this game in a sense of because of such all the praise that they were getting and all this, we're unstoppable, no one can beat us, we're top of the league, and all these different concepts of which are all true in reality. But sometimes if you don't keep the eye on your prize, then you can often lose focus of it. And today, I think we let them get a result out of a game that we should have definitely handled.
No, I think you're spot on. I think you can see it in the first. I feel like there was a level of sort of complacency on the basis that United have been in terrible form. They've lost 3 games on the bounce. So and they're
Huh.
14th in the league, so they're close to relegation than they are to the top.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe we took that for granted and thought, you know what, it's a team that's down in the dumps. When we faced them early in the season, we steamrolled past them with ease as well.
Hmm.
And that wasn't the right approach to that. I feel like it's not a good saying, but maybe we played the occasion more than the actual team, and that's
Yeah, that's
what
a good point. That's well stated. That's definitely well
yeah,
stated.
and that's probably what would be a criticism of Jurgen Klopp from his time. But I feel like today, unfortunately, Slot fell for that trap as well because we should have been a bit more aggressive. I feel like the way we started against Tottenham is what I would have liked in this game, where
Oh,
try and
absolutely.
get
Yeah,
try and get those early goals, and then
yeah.
from there on you can manage the game however you want. Because we let them, I feel like they probably played their best football all season. They somehow gained a
Mhm.
lot of confidence. They were doing 1-2 passes around the pitch, and it's annoying because last season we went to Old Trafford in the FA Cup in good form and thinking, we're gonna do the quad and all that sort of stuff, and we end up losing 4-3 to them. And it kind of gave me that deja vu feeling, and it ended up being Amad Diallo scoring the vital goal on both occasions. And that's what's frustrating because we should know when it comes to this sort of match, they're not in terms of geographic, they're not in Liverpool, but they are still one of our strongest rivals, like a derby game, right? So
Mm.
we should have literally gone all guns blazing, in my opinion, because form
Oh
goes
yeah.
out the window when it comes to this kind of game. It's not first versus 14th, it's Liverpool versus Manchester United, and we've got to treat them like any other team, and we really should have destroyed them, in my opinion. That's why I got ahead of myself. I went for a 3-0 prediction. I did a
Mhm.
show with Jamie Phillips. Shout out to Jamie. He got me excited that day. I said 5-0, so I was saying all kinds of reckless stuff as well. So we were on a thing where we're like, we can
Gotta
really
watch.
slaughter this team.
Gotta watch
What was
that.
your
Yeah,
prediction
yeah,
for the game?
yeah. I know JK's going to comment, but I also real quickly say, or I can hold off my next comment. I had another comment,
No,
but
it's cool, bro. Carry on.
um, it was something that we spoke on this before too, and we were on Brian's show earlier, the Irishman show, and like um, it's interesting how narratives are really placed out there. And again, this is why I said that nothing short of a blowout victory today would have been seen as a victory.
Yeah,
Um, it would have been always some type of spin that would have tried to bring us back to earth or allow for
yeah,
some of the banter to go the way it's going currently. And it's because I saw a post, and that's something I shared with JK and the guys earlier, and it was a post by ESPN FC, and somehow, some way, they still tried to angle it as if this was like this result was some, affirmation about Amarin and this United team and the likes. Whereas in the last 10 games, for instance, is 3 wins, 6 losses, and 1 draw now.
yeah,
So if you could tell me that a a, a new coach who's gotten no new coach bounce, the only new coach bounce they ever saw was a Rude. Okay,
yeah,
so a new coach
Mhm.
bounce isn't existent with this club, with this team, and this coach has now had only 3 wins out of the last 10 games. Yet, because he got a win against City and he got a draw against us today,
yeah,
now all of a sudden we're going to put him on a pedestal and give him, like, as much as I want to give them the credit due for going to Anfield and getting a result, absolutely credit to them. But let's not like try to shine a turd, basically, like this was not some great game as some of the United supporters are trying to spin it as being, oh, this was, I think I saw Saeed's, I'm trying to get Saeed's comment, it was something like this, called it like a spectacle or this like thriller at Anfield. This wasn't any thriller. This was, yeah, exactly. This was no thriller of a game. It's just like this is a bad team playing a team that was playing to their bad level, I think. And that's just the way it is. As in, they're not a good team. We lost to, or excuse me, what feels like a loss, which is a draw. We ended up drawing to a poor team. And that is a reality check. And if anything, I think that we need these next two games to be primers so that when we go into that Forest game, which is not going to be an easy matchup, we need to be firing on all cylinders because we cannot fall down again.
That's going to be a tough game, I think, on paper, because they will play low block against us as well. It'll be a similar type of format in terms of what we face against United. So yeah, that's one we'll have to visit when it happens. JK, give me your thoughts. How are you feeling after the game?
I'm all good, bro. Bless up and also Abdul in the chat. I was like, you know what? I'm lucky. We're lucky we got a point. It could have got pear-shaped if the fridge up front, he was playing up front for 2 seconds, missed, let's scored goal, and he Zerky was onside. But if he scored there and we lost that game 3-2, we could be gutted right now. It would have been a circus. It would have been a madness right now, So I'm thinking we should be sort of counting our chickens that we got a point. Us playing bad and then playing world class got them a draw. That's how I see that. We were really bad today. I think that was probably one of the worst games we played this season. But still, we got a 2-2 draw against Man United, who were probably playing in phases their best football. Like, they had about 15 minutes at the end of the game. They were just like all over us. I was like, what the hell's going on here? So for me, the midfield and the defense was all over the place today. Like, real bad.
Defense was, I don't know what was going on with Trent, and I don't want to be a just bash Trent because it wasn't just Trent, but some of the positions that he was taking from a defensive point of view were definitely questionable. Like the chance that it had in the first half with Højlund going through, that was down to his laziness because he wasn't looking along his defensive line. He was the one that was furthest back. So when you're playing a sort of a high line, you've got to follow your defenders as well, and he didn't do that, and that could have cost us because Højlund in that sort of one-on-one situation could easily have scored. So it could have changed the whole outlook of that game. It would have been their first goal before halftime, and then we would have had to maybe change our game plan a little bit. Who knows? But defensively, I think, because I know a lot of fans, they like to make scapegoats out of people, whether it's Trent or Robbo. I think collectively we went great. The only person that probably stands up and did himself justice today was probably Konate. And poor guy, he's just come off 6-7 week layoff. He's got a knee brace on, and he had to he went through the walls today. So
I wouldn't have played him as well, though. That's the thing.
I would have played him.
I would have played. Yeah, I would have played Kwanzaa because for me, I just felt maybe Ian rocked. The defense didn't look steady. You know what I mean? It was. I think Virgil at the 4 was the best out of the 4. Robertson, as I was saying earlier on Brian's show, I don't think Robertson's lost his legs. He's lost his sort of mindset. Because he gave that free kick away where he was just tugging at that guy. Like, it was
wasn't it?
Yeah, on the right wing, for them. And they got a free kick in the injury time at the end of the second half. And that was just made me realize, I'm like, what is Robertson doing right now? So I'm thinking our fullbacks, who were probably our best players back in the days, like, wow, today them two let us down big time. So for me, them two need to sort themselves out. If they want to win another Premier League title with Liverpool, sort your shit out, man. I think the Trent thing, that's weeks and weeks and months of just speculation, what's happening with him. Fans probably shouting in the crowd, what you going to do? Whatever, because I've heard like some people from the crowds are shouting at him and stuff. You can even hear in the game, there's a bit of murmur. But
against
for me, we should
Robbo?
have Trent.
Oh yes, Trent. Yeah. That's gonna be.
What's your viewpoint
That's
on
gonna
this
be
whole
existent.
Trent situation?
Yeah, no, I was just saying. I think that's going to be existent only because of this. I'm trying to think of the most polite way of putting it, but basically, it's just the way that fam, the way that the fandoms are today. I'm not saying that I'm not trying to make it sound like, oh, yesteryear is some, there were
Yeah,
never any people that would, be be discourageable fans,
yeah,
um, but yeah, I just think that just has to do with there's those of us that would have probably tried to at least like give him the right encouragement to possibly be like, hey, up your game. And
yeah,
there's those now, unfortunately, with the situation with his contract that are thinking, oh, maybe he's signed out. I don't think that, but I mean,
uh,
like, maybe he's already, in his mind in Madrid, and and even if it's not, then is what it is. But I personally don't think that's the case. I think that he is a professional. I think that he will give his best, regardless of his decision. But yeah, it's not. It's not. This is where he's at with this. And if he's not going to give anyone any clues as to how he feels in his mind about whether he wants to stay here or not, you're going to have people that are going to speculate and form opinions. So
That display didn't really help that sort of speculation to die down. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It
yeah.
sort of
exactly.
added a bit of fuel,
It adds fuel to the
to
fire. I think. Yeah,
yeah, man.
yeah,
Yeah, it's very true. Because now, people definitely say that maybe there was already thoughts in our heads that, oh, maybe his level performance is going to be affected with this speculation, all that sort of stuff.
right.
Unfortunately, today, I said it earlier on, I think it was. I think the speculation came as a distraction for him. Now, that's not me saying that I feel like his head has been turned and he's definitely going to Madrid or anything to that notion. Because I know a lot of fans are saying that with Real Madrid placing the bid, that it's pretty much he's giving them the indication that he wants to leave. I don't think that's the case. I actually think it's the other way around. I think due to their desperation of wanting a right back, they've just made a bid to test the waters, and that's what's happened. So we can't say in any concrete fashion that Trent is staying or leaving. So I feel like as fans, when we don't get concrete news, we've got to just still support the players it is. Obviously, it's probably easier said than done, in my opinion. But like you alluded to earlier on, 12 man, we
Yeah,
live in an age where the modern fan or the average modern fan is more reactionary now due to us having access to social media, so you can voice your
yeah,
annoyance very, very quickly. And
yeah,
unfortunately, that's become the culture now. So
yeah,
when you have that culture, it is actually embodied in the crowd when they are watching these players live. So
yeah,
you guys have probably heard the same thing when Trent was leaving the pitch. Apparently, he was getting a lot of abuse dished out to him. So if he does end up leaving, that'll be because of these kind of moments, because he's probably thinking, hang on, like I've not even said anything yet. But you guys have already made your minds up. You're already abusing me on the pitch. You're calling my family names, all sorts on social media. Like,
yeah, yeah,
as a
yeah.
we're supposed to be this amazing fan base, right? But sometimes a small section will create these
Overshadow it.
moments.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
Exactly.
it overshadows
Hmm.
all of our loyalty towards the team. So look, whatever pans out, it is what it is. I feel like as fans, we just have to take a back seat and see what happens, because until we don't know what's happened, we can't really voice too much in my opinion. We can give an opinion, yes, in terms of what we
that's
think and what we think
yeah,
can happen, but at this
yeah,
stage, we're probably as clueless as each other. We don't really know what's happened behind closed doors.
yeah. No, that's spot on. I agree with that completely. And I also think that like this with the speculation, like as you assume, what they say when you assume, you know, and what I can say is not an assumption is you're right about how a lot of fans today they have access to. I mean, we're on a platform right now because
Yeah,
when we're fans that we have access to automatically give our opinions and voice our
yeah,
opinions to every corner of the world. But before it was we would probably be either just screaming at the wall or maybe or whoever's in the house with us or whatever the case might be.
yeah,
So it's a little bit of a different status when it comes to a lot of the fandom out there. But I also agree that there's cases where I saw some of the fandom and some content creators as well really it's interesting how, despite the fact that a player might not have even played the entire game, for instance, yet they're going to single out that player for the 15 minutes that they played or the 20 minutes that they played. Oh, Bradley wasn't good enough, or Nunez is a waste of space or something, or whatever they're going to say. All these different little takes, and I'm just like, you realize that we did play a whole half before these guys even came in,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then a considerable amount of time even after that, before they even got the chance to make a difference in the game. But yet we're gonna like focus and focus all of our attention as to say, well, this is my opportunity to throw them under the bus again, and this is my opportunity to make it seem as though they're the reason why we lost today. No, let's not go there. And that's why when it comes to sometimes listening to some of these people spout their whatever they want to say, sometimes it does sound agenda based. When if you're looking at this game, there's a lot of things we can pinpoint and focus on, but the 12 minutes that this guy got 6 touches in, you know what I mean, is not something that you're going to say, oh, that was the difference maker. That is where that sometimes drives me insane.
Yeah, no, I get you. I think especially when we do like match reactions, that it has to be face value in terms of what occurred in the game, not what happened before or anything to that notion, because you don't want that to determine your overall rating for that player. So for me, I always take it face value. So if a player's come on for 15, 20 minutes, if they've had minimal touches and they've not really had too much impact on the game, he's not the blame into the whole outcome, if that makes sense. If some subs come on and they score a goal or two, then you're giving them all the plaudits. But generally, with subs, they are there to alter tactics and have an impact on the game. If they haven't, they're not the reason why we haven't won, if that makes sense. So
absolutely.
Agendas will agenda, I guess, in a lot of channels.
Nunez got 3 touches today, and I heard someone, and the first thing that someone tuned into my channel for was Nunez this, Nunez. We need Nunez out of the team. He's a waste or something. I'm just like, he had 3 touches. 3 touches on the ball.
Yeah.
But yet it's his fault. I'm just like, man, other people played the game, man. This isn't tennis. This is not tennis.
It's not a division sport.
Yeah, it's not golf, not tennis. Like, as in, there's other people on the pitch. So it's one of those things.
No, I totally agree. JK, any final thoughts on the game? Were you one of the people bashing Darwin Núñez as 12th man in the team?
My picture says it all, bro.
Yeah.
I've always supported Darwin. Actually, I'm not the type of Liverpool fan who sort of bashes. I rather bash the owners than the players. Like, for me, the players are doing their jobs. When you look at it, we're top of the league, top of the Champions League. So I'd rather bash the owners, because like we're 5 days into the January window. Are they going to give us anything for our only slot to cement the titles we're going for now? This time last year, we had the same sort of situation. I said we need another Endo in that midfield. And what happened? We didn't get it. Endo got injured. We collapsed. So for me, I'm not really bothered about the players playing bad. Like, for me, Darwin Núñez, he got 3 touches. That's what I've said. He sort of really lost his way. And that's saddening. He's really lost his way. And a month ago, he got a goal and an assist in 2 games. And I was like, yo, okay, let's keep it going now. And he's just gone since that time, I don't know what the hell's happened to him. In the last few games, he looks lost. Like, he's lost his way to play football. So for me, that's a bit of a worry. That.
Yeah.
I think confidence plays a part in that one. I think because last few games he's not really started many of them. I feel like for striker that does kill their rhythm, it kills their faith in terms of what they need to do on the pitch. So strikers are one of those things they rely on confidence. So if the manager doesn't have faith in him to play him on a regular basis, his way of playing is it's not for him to be an impact sub. Obviously, on paper, when we analyze the team, we might believe that he's actually more impactful off the bench sometimes due to how we play and due to oppositions that we face as well. But individually, he's probably thinking, I'm number 9. I'm supposed to be starting every game, week in, week out. So it does have an
Yeah,
impact on the
yeah,
player. But yeah, I think in terms of his criticism, look, whether you like him or not, for me, I always say judge him on the last game rather than just phrase it as like, oh, he's just useless and let's sell him. I always say go game by game. And if you don't think he's good enough, that's everyone's opinion as well, end of the
right,
day.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah,
at the same time, he is a Liverpool player right now. So and that includes
Mhm.
in Trent in this conversation as well. Trent
yeah,
deserves all the support until he's parting
He
ways.
leaves.
Right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
there is no
Mhm.
right.
point of bashing Trent because what if this really derails his whole performance throughout the whole season?
Exactly.
We're not in a good position. Yes, we've got Conor Bradley who can do a good job, but Trent is one of our main guys in this team.
He's
So
number
if
one.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, so if his
right.
confidence is affected because of outside noise in terms of social media or fans cussing him out on the streets and stuff like that, that is our own doing then. We've basically shot his confidence down when it shouldn't be the case. We should still be
Yeah.
praising him for what we're doing right now because we're on top of the table right now. Look, I know it hurts today. We've drawn against them. It feels like a defeat. I feel
Yeah,
like that is the levels that we have set as
yeah,
Liverpool Football Club. A draw always feels like a defeat. We drew against Newcastle. It felt like that as well. So
Mhm.
that is the kind of levels we are as a team. But going forward, we need to just be a bit mindful in terms of how we, treat our own players as well, because that will be a reflection of what he decides. Because if he goes and says, "I want a new challenge," or he's not happy here, then we
So
would
be
have
it.
played a part to
Mhm.
play for that as well. So,
Mhm.
in terms
no
of the
doubt.
January window, you just mentioned JK. Do you to have any faith whatsoever? Because I would say on record, I don't. That will sign anyone this window.
For me, no. Mhm.
12
It's
man, what do you
like.
think?
I think that if it's a opportunistic buy, we'll buy
Mm,
someone. That's I mean, like as in some of the best players that we have on this team are opportunistic buys in a sense because they were more summer targets that
yeah.
were either being pursued in January to such an extent that they were going to possibly move in January, and that thus forced us to have to play our cards early.
Okay.
Most notably, that happened with Cody Hackbo. That happened
Yes.
with Lucho.
Yeah.
Like as in there's numerous players that have come in January that we didn't necessarily expect to get or were expecting to pull the trigger on, but we had to because it was either us doing so or they're going to play for Spurs. Like we could be looking at Lucho on Spurs, for instance. You
It's
know,
true.
so that I could see us making some type of move for if it's a player that we highly covet, and if we don't act now, we'll miss out on. Other than that, I don't see us making a deal in the January window, simply because I've been trying to stress this with other callers or other people in the chat, or sometimes even people on fellow panelists, and that is if you looked at our team today, for instance, our team, I personally think, I know Lawrence McKenna didn't think this, but I personally think that our bench was a pretty solid bench today. Okay. If you look at our bench, it had Nunez, Diego, Bradley, Elliott, Kelleher, Simicast, Kwanzaa, Endo, and Chiesa. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty solid bench. Um, we're missing Gomez. We're missing Dom because of an illness, right?
Illness.
Gomez because of an injury, Dom because of an illness. And this all stemmed really from a conversation earlier about Bishetic, actually, too. And it's one of those cases where we have good players out on loan, for instance. We still have Ben Doak. Not saying Ben Doak's going to be a needle mover for us right now
Yeah.
or something. But and I'm not saying the same for Bishetic, but they are potentially players that do have a future, possibly. But those are two players. Add them to Gomez. Add that to Dom. That's four players that you could say could or would you'd want to see. Some might even add Neoni as a possible player that you could see part of this club next year, being a really decent, or at least used as a squad player in those teams next year. Why I'm mentioning all these names is because they're not fitting into a squad. I just mentioned 9 solid players that are on that bench, because those 11 that played are all certainly going to be on this team. So I just mentioned 9 players on that bench that all could, in one way or another, be feasibly seen as being having a reason to be on that bench. So, are we going to get a player? I don't think so. I'm not an ITK, so but I do know that it's a matter of, can we get healthy at the right times? Can the right players remain healthy? Can we get healthy and bolster, the positions that we need to make it through this season? And also, I would like to say this first. I mean, I might be bold to say this against a coach that I really believe in, but I'd like to see Slot start to utilize some of these squad players a little bit more than he does currently. And I'm not talking about some of the names that we saw off the bench that are normal names, but I would like to see him use Elliott more in the rotation. I would like to see him use Endo more in the rotation. Today, if we're up in a 2-1, rather than trying to keep pushing for a 3-1 victory, which is what it seemed like by going with 4 forwards in the game, bring in an Endo. Okay? Bring in an Endo, take out Curtis Jones, so bring out the 10, drop that 10 back to be a anchor 6. And then if you want to continue to push forward, you can push forward, or you can continue to have the pivot, whichever you'd like to do. But those are kinds of differences I'd like to see our coach do more so than just what we saw today.
I think that's very, very valid. I've mentioned it a few times in recent weeks as well. I don't feel like he plays Endo enough, and I feel like there were certain games where you just need a destroyer type of player to just come in and just keep it tidy for us. So, like for today, for example, the tactic you mentioned is spot on. Taking off Jones and bringing on Endo, and even if you just have a flat 3, that flat 3 in midfield can kind of protect the back 4, but at the same time can keep the ball moving for the forward players as well. So there were times throughout the season I feel like Arsenal just needs to tweak and use our squad players a bit more. Also, because we're not rotating that heavily, it could lead to certain players getting burnt out, like Gravenbergs, who's had sensational season so far. You want to try and keep them as fresh as possible as well, because from this month onwards, we're playing a lot of games. The Champions League is going to return very shortly. We've got Carabao Cup tie next week. We've got FA Cup tie starting next week as well. We've got a lot of games coming through, so we need to make sure we're rotating these players. And the 2 names that you mentioned, Bajtic and Ben Doak. Bajtic, the rumor is that he might go to Real Betis. I don't know if there's any truth to that. But in terms of Ben Doak, he's having a great season at Middlesbrough. So I don't think it would be worth, I don't know if we have a clause, but him coming back to the team, because he's having such a great time there where he's playing regular football. That is more important for his development than for him to come here and be a squad player. Now, when I say squad player, I'm talking about someone in the training ground, not really in the matchday squad that you mentioned. In the 9 that you mentioned, he won't even get in there. So that's got to be something we have to think about as a fan base where, yes, they're having good seasons for their teams on loan, but let them continue. Let the season finish, and then we can assess their situation. Because I know Palace made a bid for him a couple of days ago, 15 million bid that got rejected. We want 30 million. So that shows that we value the player quite well. So in terms of his long-term future, we'll see. But yeah, crazy, crazy games here. I know the match reaction from other fans have been a bit up and down, but big up to yourself, big up to 12th man, big up to JK. I will be doing a match preview with 12th man. When are we doing it? On Tuesday, so not long to go for the Carabao Cup tie.
Day before. I think it's the day before, right?
Yes, the day before. So we'll do a match preview. And JK, I'm planning on getting 12th man, JK, and Brian on a show together as well. But we'll speak about it offline and try and we'll have a 4-man show, and then we'll have might even do it for a second leg actually. Let's do it on the second leg for that time, because it might be exciting, having more people on the panel. And hopefully we're in a good position. We haven't lost the first leg, and then we can take it from
That's
there.
why when we go strong, this first leg, go strong.
Yeah.
Get a result in, and second leg, like, sort it out then.
exactly. That would be the way to go. But let's see, because we'll see how the players are after today. But I'm sure there'll be a reaction from the team to try and, put this result to bed and then, go onwards from day one. But big up to yourself, guys. Thank you, 12
Bless,
man.
man.
Thank you, JK, for your time. And yeah,
Yeah,
we'll speak very, very soon.
definitely. Big up. Thanks for having
Big up.
having us.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
Appreciate your time. And yes, that is the callers now. So what we'll do, we'll go through some of the comments. Got a lot of comments here, so let's go through them together. Um, Abdul, big up to Abdul. He says, I wanted to beat United. Yeah, I think we all did, Abdul, to be honest with you. Especially today, because they were a team that were on a losing streak. They were in probably one of their worst forms that they have been in recent years, and they've been terrible. Let's not beat around the bush. So yeah, disappointed that we didn't get the win today, but United is one of those teams where they always seem to get something from Liverpool. Unfortunately, today was one of those days again, which is, yeah, very frustrating. He says, hi, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Abdul. He says, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Abdul says, we need to improve and start winning games again. Hopefully, we can rectify that in our fixture against Tottenham. We will be playing Tottenham on the 8th, which is on Wednesday. So I'll be doing a match preview with 12th man for that. So make sure to look out for that one. Wing backs need to improve. I'd call them fullbacks, because if we're playing wing backs, then we're playing a three at the back. But yeah, you're all right. I think Trent was woeful in terms of his defensive position, and Robertson, for me, it's not really his sort of playing ability that's questionable now. It's his reactions to defending, where I feel like he's too late to make a tackle, or he's not reading the play quick enough, and that's costing us. Where attacks are being created, and by 49 to go. So at this highest level of the game, you've got to be sharp, and I don't think he's showing that sharpness in recent months. Abdul says Trent doesn't go past his man and can't defend, just does Beckham crosses only. And then Abdul says Trent isn't key player. Like I still think he's a key player. I wouldn't go by today's performance. For me, Trent is a key player, but for me, he just needs to be a bit more consistent and show a bit more drive, a bit more effort in his play and his defending, because he can do it. He just doesn't do it throughout the whole game, and I feel like it doesn't help with all of this noise in the background about Real Madrid, because now we're seeing that as poor body language now. Whereas maybe it's actually tiredness, it's fatigue, we don't know. But because of the noise that we're hearing from Spain and from the media here, it's not helping his case. So when it comes to these moments, yes, I'm sure he doesn't want to go out in public and say, I'm staying or I'm leaving, but you gotta let your football do the talking as well at the same time. So you gotta show a bit more heart in your game, and once you do that, hopefully the fans will remain satisfied until the end, or should I say, the conclusion of his decision. So I still regard him as a key player. I wouldn't dismiss him just based on today. Songs 4K, we got your services. Darwin is struggling so bad. Wrist red against the lip. I don't think that would have been red though. Having said that, you you never know in this day and age. That could be regarded as a red to some referees, especially as he looked at him and then went back in him. But no, I don't think it was. If it was an elbow, then it could have been. But I think he was just trying to pose his physicality a bit more, because that's what he was brought on to do. It just didn't work out for him, unfortunately. Then Abdul says hi to JK12 Ozzie. Yes, big up yourself, Abdul, as always. Uh, Dustin says, I guess man of the match, Grav. I've gone for McAllister, but Grav had a good game for me today. Uh, Songs 4K says Trent was playing for legacy, so casual with possession. Yeah, but then very wasteful at the same time. Normally, in possession, he's very good with keeping the ball or spraying passes around. He was giving the ball away far too many times, which is very unlike Trent, to be fair. Dustin says Trent was okay. Yeah, wasn't great. You've given Trent a 5.5 out of 10 and got subbed. He tried. Yeah, he did. We had a situation with the Bruno pass many times recently. It's tactic, not a Trent thing. Fair enough. Just to say, I don't know, 12, a 2-1 would have been fine. Yes, when we were 2-1 up, I don't know. Obviously, hindsight's a thing, but I just feel like we should just manage the game better. Whether it's bringing on a player like an Endo or just deploying a different approach altogether, because they weren't really going to attack us, in my opinion. And I feel like we kind of played to their hand where we continued to go for that third goal, and that allowed more space to be created. So they kept on going at it the way they were probably minutes late before. And unfortunately, that led to chances being created. They almost got the winner. If it wasn't Harry Maguire, if it was another attack-minded player, then that would have hit the back of the net. So should have done much better in terms of managing the game, in my opinion. Songs forecases Amarim won the tactical battle today, got the match from his team. He did. You know, it's United, so I don't want to give them too much credit, but yeah, he got the tactics spot on today. And I think his team played amazing. This 3-4-2-1 formation is not going to be revolutionary. Like, we're not going to say, oh, we see his vision right now because he needs a lot of help. He needs to recruit a lot of players for that vision to become a reality. But right now, in terms of today's game, yes, the game plan, it worked to the T. It's not the football we like as Liverpool fans because it's defensive, it's low block, it's playing on the counter. We're a counter pressing team, but we have a lot of ball possession. We're a different type of team, so you got to tactics spot on, and you can't begrudge him for that. He did his thing. Um, what was his tactics? He just played his usual system. I think in terms of their wing backs, they weren't far up as they normally are, so they end up becoming more of a back five at times. And the two centre mids, maybe it's changing personnel. Before they had Casemiro and Eriksen in the last game, so that probably played a part. Having Manuel Gate and Meno, who probably performed their best games today all season, so they had a bit more legs in that middle of the park. So tactically, I think playing this sort of formation helped them defend better, and I felt like it allowed counterattacks to be produced because that's how they got their sort of luck or any stride in this game. So I wouldn't say it was a tactical masterclass, nothing to that nature at all. But I think he played the right game plan in terms of the tactics, but also the approach to the game where play a back five and then on the counter really go at them because Dallo gave us havoc on their left hand side, and unfortunately that ended up being their favorite side of the game. So yeah, disappointing to say the least. Liverpool 12 man big up to Dustin there. Songs Forget said Amram targeted our right back, won the battle, clogged up midfields, smothered Jones. For us, it's simple tactics, but they haven't been doing that as a team. So that's why it feels like, oh, they really, they listened to their coach today. That's what it probably felt like from the outside. So yeah, nothing groundbreaking, but they did what was requested from their coach, I guess. Um, and then Dustin saying, I just thought player selection, they fought hard. Yeah, so with Gatumin, I think definitely played a part in their point today. Abdul says Liverpool made Trent and he's a Scouser. Yeah, he is, but I feel like the reason why the fan base or some section of the fan base is going a bit crazy in regards to Trent is just because we don't know what's going on. And in this modern day, that doesn't bode well with a lot of fans. They feel like they need to know everything because information is consumed so much in a very quick rate that we want to know everything so quick and fast right now. So these things, I don't feel like that contractual situation has been resolved behind the scenes. I feel like there's ongoing discussions. I feel like nothing is set in stone for any of these players. I saw a banner in the crowd today where it says something like give Mo and Co what they want or something like that. Yeah, give them what they want, but it has to be within what FSG believe is right for the club. So we'll see. That's why I always say, let's just take a back seat. Let's see what happens, and once we get some information, we'll know. Because if he leaves and he's like, I feel like I've achieved everything. I want to try something new. You can't really begrudge him for that. As a fan base, I would say, I'd wish him all the best and leave it at that. I wouldn't be annoyed as such. Um, But let's see until that time comes. Maybe I have a different I'll have a different mood that day, but we'll see. Dustin says, I blame Twitter. I don't have Twitter. I'm not affected. Trent was okay. Yeah, I'm on Twitter only on the basis that I like to promote my shows, so I get an audience like yourself to watch my streams. But yes, I don't engage a lot on Twitter. Can be a bit of a toxic place, but yes, I see why you're not on it either. Songs Podcast says Salah might have offered more help to Trent if he couldn't force Salah back. Salah didn't have the best of games in terms of his all-round game. I think, yeah, could have helped out a little bit, but even from an attacking point of view, I only feel like in the second half he really stepped up a little bit. But that's because it was a more of a reactionary thing, and I feel like the crowd was a bit more up for it a bit more. I was a lot more vocal in my watch along if you watch it back. So yeah, it's just a natural reaction that you have when you get the equaliser and you want to try and get the winning goal. Dustin says Madrid were always going to bid in Jan. Why are people upset now? It's weird. It's not a surprise, is it? I think people just assume because we're assuming we don't know. People assume that Trent's camp gave them the nudge or gave them an indication that look, if you make a bid, Trent might come with to you guys this month. We don't have to wait until the summer. That's what fans are picturing in their mind right now. So that's why I think some have lost the plot in terms of the reaction. Um, I don't think that's the case. Maybe I'm being, a bit, not wise to think like that, but I don't think that's the case. But we'll see. We'll soon find out in due course, I guess. Uh, Dustin says Salah was bad. He wasn't great today. He wasn't great. Big up Virgil, by the way, I saw his interview, my captain. Uh, Songs Focus said rating wise, Footmob reckon Robbo, Jones, and Diaz were worse than Trent. Really? Robbo didn't get very. I gave Robbo a 6. I gave Jones a 5, and I gave Diaz a 7. I gave Trent a 4. I think I gave him a 4, didn't I? Yes. So no, I let's just put the. I haven't got it there, but yes, I gave him a 4 early on. I think so. So no, I think that's a bit harsh. I don't think those people were that. They weren't great to their level, but they weren't worse than Trent. Trent was by far the worst player on the pitch, in my opinion. Dustin said the question is how much of this is online or is it at Anfield? So as I mentioned earlier on with 12th man, I do feel like because of the heavy influence of social media in modern day and culture, I would say as well. Unfortunately, it was a bit reflected on the pitch today, where fans were throwing abuse at Trent Alexander-Arnold after the game at Anfield. So yeah, it comes hand in hand. I guess I've even heard rumors that his family been getting threats and all that sort of stuff. So it's not good that a small section of our fan base, or I'm not even sure if you want to call them fans if they're reacting in that way, but when something is not set in stone, I don't think that should be the reaction. But you can't control how people react, unfortunately. There were at least a few underperforming. Yeah, a lot of people were underperforming today, that's for sure. I really don't know why Salah played 90 minutes. Unfortunately, Chiesa is not able to come on. He was on the bench. But yeah, I think if Szoboszlai was around, Szoboszlai would have played number 10, and I think Elliot would have taken over Salah's position on the right wing. But yeah, I think at that moment as well, especially because he scored the penalty in the 70th minute, maybe thought like, he could get that clutch moment, get that winner, or we were winning at the time. I could have got that third goal for us. So in that moment of time, I don't think it would have been the right time to substitute him because he was in, high confidence at the time. But yeah, in terms of when you look at his overall game, yeah, wasn't the best all-round game from Mohamed Salah. Dustin says at least Trent was subbed. He should be subbed a lot earlier, in my opinion. Songs 4K says Nunes is struggling so bad, but never hides or clocks off. No, he always gives his best. So even when I analyze his performance earlier on, one or two moments frustrated me, but you can never question his desire, his effort on the pitch. And would certainly not blame him for not winning the game. He had nothing. He didn't really have that kind of influence for the team. It's not like he missed a sitter or anything to that nature. Then maybe we can have that discussion, but that wasn't the case. Dustin said at the same time, it shouldn't be a player FC now. We're going for a tower. I don't know who scores. Yeah. Abdul says FSG out. Yeah, Abdul's not happy with the ownership at all. Dustin says, unless you sell Nunes and Jan, support him. Exactly. He's still a Liverpool player, and so is Trent. So support these guys until they leave. Right now, there's no point of bashing our own players. We're on top of the table, guys. We need to remember this. We're not Arsenal. We're not thinking we're going to be champions because we're, imagined to that extent. They were having these kind of false hopes last year. They've got those false hopes this year as well. And that's not me getting cocky saying we're going to win the league, but we're in a very strong position, even though I do believe we'll win the league. But, we're in a great position. So we've got to support our players at the same time and build their confidence and not derail the season by bashing on them just because we drew. It's 2-2. I know it's against United, it's our fiercest rivals, and the battle is going to be crazy because United fans are going to start being vocal now. I've got a lot of United fans I haven't spoken to in weeks and weeks, so they might come out the cave and start speaking to me now. It's just how it is. So yeah, in terms of our pride, it would have been it would have hurt today because we drew. But generally speaking, the draw we're still 6 points clear, still got a game in hand. It's not end of the world, guys. We're in a good position right now. Dustin says, not a lot of time to build confidence when the pressure's up and people hate. True. Facts. Doesn't feel like a defeat for me, but just weird. I feel like for me, it does only on the basis that our expectations are so high now where when we drop points, it just feels like a defeat. But in terms of how we ended the game, I just don't feel like we were on top of it. So yeah, bad performance in my opinion. Let me just have a sip of water. Abdul says, start of the season with new manager, no signing in the summer. We had kids about no point there. We need to respect we are top of the UCL and EPO and all trophies. Yeah, we've got to look at the positive. We certainly do. Let's not take it for granted. We are top of the table. Dustin says, still feels like we need OZWRLD. We do. That is definitely a type of player we need in this team. I just don't see it happening in this window, unfortunately. If I'm proven wrong, I'll be all for it. I'm telling you, I'll do a dedicated show if we sign that player, but I just don't have that high hope right now, if I'm being honest. Song 4K says left back is a glaring weakness. I'd recall Doc if Chiesa can't take load of Salah. For me, it's fingers crossed that Chiesa can, contribute in the coming weeks. I think this month he'll be a bit more bit part player where he'll come on 5-10 minutes here and then. And if he remains to be fit, then in February he'll play a lot more games. But yeah, I think the left back one, I think because we're highlighting Robertson's performance, because it has been going downhill a little bit. We've got Simicast back in the squad now. He's just returned from injury, so he's another option that we have. And I feel like whenever he's performed, he's done a decent job. So I wouldn't say it's a glaring weakness right now, but it does need to be addressed. Possibly in the summer. If you guys watch my shows, you know who my first choice. My first choice is Hato from Ajax. I think he's the guy to take that torch and run with it. But we'll see. We'll see who our targets are in the coming months. Uh, yeah, left back as well, unless Simicast stays fit or Gomez. That's the thing. Gomez can play that role if required. We've got Simicast who's back in the squad now, so we've got options there. I don't feel like it's a weakness right now, but it can be addressed and improved from the summer onwards in terms of next season. Dustin says maybe we need more than one. We need to keep up with 4 competitions. In an ideal world, you'd like it to be where you have possibly a left back that could play centre back, who covers 2 positions, and another centre mid. I know some fans want striker, other fans want as a centre back, like a traditional centre back, and then a left back separately. So we'll see. I know these positions will be addressed at some point. It just won't happen in January. It's a crazy market right now. If you want to sign a good player that's at an established club, you're going to have to pay an inflated fee, and it's not going to come cheap whatsoever. So for me, as 12th man mentioned earlier on, opportunistic signings is what Liverpool would go for in this summer, in this window, and in the summer is where we plan our season forward. But right now, I just don't see it happening. That's to say, if we fall off or look tired in a few months, it wouldn't be good. Yeah, That is very true. Some Sport said we need to take some load off Gravenberg. If he's injured, Endo can only do so much. That's why I would like to see Endo playing a little bit more, even if he's not starting games, just give him more of a run out, not these 5-10 minutes that he gets. Let him justify by wearing that gum shirt, give him like at least half an hour as well. So we can just take the burden off Gravenberg, make sure he's rested and he's not overworked because he's going to be pivotal in terms of how our season unfolds. So I agree. I think we need to rotate the squad a bit more and utilize our squad players like an Endo, like a Harvey Elliott a lot more, and hopefully Chiesa as well if he stays fit. Dustin says 1920 score was good, and we brought Minamino. Yeah, I do remember that. It's January sub there. I pray Salah subbed. Sonsport says Endo for John would allow Mac to press higher up. Yeah, that could have been a tactic there as well. And then I think Endo should be part of the back line. Slot needs a midfielder that plays intricate passes. Yep, that's really why we wanted to get Zubimendi. Liverpool 12 man in the chat, big yourself 12 man. He says, how much higher would you want Mac to go? He was already involved heavily in the attack today, in my opinion, and was the best player for our side. I think that was in reference to Songs 4K's comment there. Yeah, so I see both points to be fair. Me personally, if I had brought on Endo, it would have been where we wouldn't have played a 4-2-3. I would play the 4-3-3. I would have had Endo and then I would have had McAllister and Gravenberch a bit more further up as two number 8s. Or you could have a flat 3 and then just have more protection for the back line. So, but yeah. Oh, Liverpool says Tovan says he misread the comment. Your comment is what I thought too. Yep, fair enough, guys. Swans says Jones works hard, but Mac is more incisive in his passing. The thing with Jones in this number 10 role as well, I feel like sometimes we just need a player in that role that's more tenacious. And Jones isn't that type of player. He's more silky, a bit more calm and collected on the ball. Sometimes from that number 10, I want a bit of aggression where, on the half 10, he's the one driving the ball and causing chaos before it arrives to the finisher, i.e. the number 9. And, he cleans up and scores the goals. So that's the type of 10. And that's what supports like he brings that energy. It's just that his goals and assist ratio hasn't been as high as it should be, in my opinion. That's something that he needs to work on going forward. But that is the type of number 10 that I want. And I feel like Jones, for me, is more suited in the double pivot, where he's more of a controller, more calm and composed, and can maintain ball retention and then spread the passes around. I feel like that suits his game a bit better. And yeah, that's why I just feel like today he just wasn't involved as such. And he was left isolated on quite a few occasions. He had 2-3 players marking him, and I feel like that was a tactic from Amrin to stop him from having any influence on the game. And then we've got Jones looked tired from Dustin. Yeah, he did. He did look tired, to be fair. Trent's play for legacy highlights. Yeah, I hope not. We need more than that now. Liverpool 12 man says, I think there were a few players that looked leggy today. Yeah, I agree with that. So I was say, yeah, normally press teams to the flanks, but couldn't smother United today. That is very true as well. Dustin says they were going to bid just to piss us off anyway. Yeah, it's Real Madrid. We don't get along with them. We, spanked them at Anfield as well. So they're going to try and do whatever's going to rub us the wrong way, isn't it? And that's what I feel like fans, we need to think. You think Real Madrid are just going to go off by what Trent says and then make a bid? They're Real Madrid. They're going to bully clubs to try and get what they want. That's why they use Marsa as a media source to dish out that PR propaganda and unsettle clubs with targets that they're trying to sign in the next window. So this is 101 Real Madrid tactics right here. This is what they do to get their player. So as fans, we shouldn't be falling for it, but it happens. Some sport cases, I fear our fullbacks could cost points and a Champions League knockout. I hope not. I feel like the squad is coming to its full numbers now with Conor Bradley returning, which was good to see him on the pitch today. Konate playing 90 minutes. I'd probably rest him in that next game, to be honest with you. I don't want to overwork Konate too much. He put in a shift today. He went through the wars, cut up the right knee and then a bandage on the other one. Yeah, he went through it today. So yeah, let's try and wrap him up in cotton wool. And let's not, overuse Canate. But yeah, I think we've only got Joe Gomez that's picked up an injury. He's out for a few weeks. I think there's another one as well, but there's not that many injuries that we have in the team, so it's looking good so far. Songs 4K says Sabozlai is a more of a battler than Jones. Mac is a tackler too. So that's what I was speaking about earlier on. I think Jones is more of a silky player, whereas Sabozlai is a bit more power and pace, if that's how you want to phrase it, more energy in his play. And Mac, yeah, Mac is an all-rounder. He pretty much can do a bit of everything. So yeah, he's a really, really good player. And yeah, we're blessed to have all three, to be fair. Uh, Anfield Uncle Ross says, "Yo, family, big up yourself." Anfield Uncle Ross says, "You good?" Yes, I'm good, Uncle Ross. Considering the result, I'm all good. But thank you for your comment. He says, "Can I jump on?" Yeah, the link is there, so hit the link. If you come on in the next minute or so, then I'll get you on. But yes, you are welcome to come on the show. Songs 4K says, "Yeah, no way. We should play Konate against Ashton Stanley." So I'll share the screen with you guys so you can see. So I didn't realize this until yesterday, but Carabao Cup tie against Tottenham is the first game. So let me share this with you guys. There we go. Can I make that bit bigger? Can't see it very well, can we? So let me zoom into that. Whilst Uncle Roz gets ready, I'll just talk about the fixtures. So as you can see, so we've got Tottenham on Wednesday evening, 8th of January. And then we've got Accrington Stanley on Saturday, 12:15 kickoff. A bit of a weird time. There's normally 12:30, but yeah. So we've got Tottenham first. So that's a big game coming up on Wednesday. It's the first legs at Tottenham. Obviously, we thrashed them 6-3 not so long ago. So hopefully we can do a repeat of that sort of scoreline. Maybe less goals conceded. So yeah, we've got the Tottenham game first. So with regards to Konate, I don't think I'll even start in this game, to be honest with you. Um, I'd probably play Kwanzaa. Give him some game time. And yeah, just not. I don't think we should rush Konate right now, in my opinion. And then the Action Stanley game. Listen, I'm hoping we're rotating very heavy for that one. Just got a comment here from Dustin saying play Nalo. So yeah, I wouldn't be against that. Play the young players that we have in our academy, slash maybe some experienced players. Songs 4K. Let's mention Endo. I was going to say as well. Endo maybe in the centre back position or in the midfield. Tyler Morton, Kwanzaa, Chiesa as well. Give these players game time that need it. Harvey Elliott as well. Trey Neone. These type of players. These are the players that should be giving game time against Accrington Stanley. I don't want to see any of our real, first team players playing that fixture. It's not necessary. So yeah. Anfield Cross is considering. Yeah, feel free to hit the link. It should be working. I've just had JK and Liverpool 12th man on the show. So yeah, feel free to come on and then we can discuss the game together. And then Songs 4K says BBC trying to screw us with the early kickoff. Yeah, crazy kick 12:15. We do family games are 12:30 now, aren't they? So yeah, that was a bit unnecessary. Couldn't it just been a 5 o'clock game? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Let's just play the youngsters, let them deal with that because that's a lot to do right there. Nathan LFC takes me on yourself, Nathan. He says, I just give Konate 60 minutes across the two games just to get the match fitness back. Yeah. Yeah, I think that would make sense to be fair. I personally, I'd probably just keep him on the bench against the Tottenham team. Maybe playing for like half an hour if required. If Kwanzaa looks a bit shaky, or we just need to switch up a little bit and then start Kwanzaa in the other game. So I'd probably give him half an hour and then rest him for the game against Accrington Stanley. And then, as you can see, we've got Nottingham Forest on the Tuesday, the few days after that. So for me, the Nottingham Forest game is the one that I would start Konate. So these two games, try and rest him, and then make sure we start him in that Forest game. On paper, you're probably thinking, or not you in particular, but generally speaking, as a fan base, we're probably thinking that, the Forest game we should go and win, but they've been in sensational form this season. They've been winning 5 games in a row. Uh, I think they're third or fourth in the league right now, so they're sky high. So since they beat us, they've really been on a run. So we need to try and maybe derail their season a little bit and get a win over them, because I know Alan Slot still has nightmares in regards to that defeat. I mention it time to time, but Alan Slot mentions a lot more than I do. So yeah, that's something I would possibly pinpoint a return for Konate, rest him for the Tottenham game. I don't think it's necessary to put him there. And then Accrington Stanley game, I don't want to see a lot of our first teamers. I want us to rotate a little bit more a bit more heavily in that one. Experienced players / our squad players, and bring some of our youth players. It would be great to see the youngster that we have, Rio. I know he's only 16 years old, but it'd be good to see him have a little cameo there. I think that would be good, and see those type of players. But generally, uh, I don't want to see Mohamed Salah, Van Dijk. I don't want to see our real first team players playing in that game. It's not necessary. So it's going to be a day out for Accrington Stanley anyway, in terms of playing at Anfield. But we don't need to have the full team, not at all. Forest straight after. Then we've got Brentford and the return of the Champions League. I know in terms of the Champions League, we're obviously top of that table as well. But we can continue our momentum and try and get another win on the board. So, yeah, for me, we need to be very smart in terms of how we manage Conor Bradley as well as Konate. I think Conor Bradley's just come in. Our fans are probably saying, start Bradley in the next game. Trent was awful today. Start Bradley. We've got to take it one game at a time. We can't just jump the gun because Trent had a bad game. His type of player will have a bad game here and there. I still have faith in Trent. I'm not going to go off by this off-field noise, and I'm thinking that Trent is the reason why Madrid are making bids. I don't think that's true, but he still has my full confidence. And yeah, he's still a Liverpool player, so he gets my full support as well. Songs forecast is 2 days after a cup semi-final. I know the fixture list is crazy, isn't it? Crazy. Wednesday and then Saturday, 12:15 kickoff. Yeah, they don't they don't rate us in quick succession. That's ridiculous. Nathan FC Tech says you might be right on the minutes for the cups. 2 really tough away games in the league, Forest and Brentford. I honestly take 4 points and then hopefully put a run together after that. Yeah, they're not going to be easy games at all, Nathan, to be fair. The Forest one, I can see that being a very, very sticky game for us. They're going to play low block. I know they've, been a bit more adventurous, this with their points tally and all that sort of stuff, but I still feel like they're a team that can cause issues. They're very good on the counter attack. They've got players in good form. Alanga's been in good form in recent weeks. Chris Wood, he scored about, I think he's got double figures now, 11 goals to the season. So he's a player that will definitely trouble us. He's in good form right now. And Brentford, they concede a lot of goals. They have done in recent weeks, but they're a team that, won't be easy to beat in their home turf. So we've got to be on top of our game, but let's see what happens. But until then, if we close the show, we'll bring on Anfield Uncle Rods. And yeah, he can give us his views on the game. So, Uncle Rods, how you doing, sir?
Shocking.
All good,
Absolutely
man. How you?
shocking, my boy.
All
Absolutely
good, all
shocking.
good.
First off, how are you,
Hopefully
sir?
that's
How
all
are
right.
you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Normally more better spirits after the game, but we've set such high standards now. A draw feels like a defeat nowadays. But you know how it is. But give me your take on the game. How are you feeling after the draw today?
I'm feeling kind of like fed up because we shouldn't be losing to a dusty sort of like Man United team. They're dusty, bro.
They are.
We literally let them come to Anfield. Imagine this, right? Bruno Fernandes got man of the match at
Yeah,
Anfield, bro.
that's wild. Yeah.
It's
So
wilding, bro. It's wilding. Bruno Fernandes, And the common denominator of that situation is at the day Trent. Trent was at fault for all 2 goals.
Yeah, it was.
All 2 goals. Remember at the day, you know, I think it's for even the first goal, yeah. Konate was trying to get back to cover him, but he couldn't get back in time, and that's when Martinez, you know, bro. Are we joking here?
Yeah.
Martinez scores a goal, yeah. Gets put through to from Bruno Fernandes, yeah. Like Trent is God knows where. I think he went down the shops for a pack of sweets, right?
Lazy in that moment. It was ridiculous. Like, he just let him. Bruno Fernandes didn't even run. He literally walked in field and then gave that free ball to Martin. It was a joke. Absolute
Yeah.
joke.
But the thing is about what I'm trying to say to people in the day, right? Because he's been getting a lot of shit online in the day, yeah? And it's basically mainly because of obviously the Real Madrid thing and all that, right? Yeah, big up, bro. Big up. It's been good about the Real Madrid thing, yeah? But what people got to realise is that he's been doing this for a long time now, leaving his position and leaving his position. People wonder why Henderson got burnt out so much, because Henderson had to cover him so much. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just thinking that it's a situation like this. It's either you're going to defend or just go. Because you're costing us games. And another thing about it as well, right? This is what I'm saying about Arne Slot, yeah? This is what I'm saying about Arne Slot. People are speaking too soon about Arne Slot, saying he's amazing, saying he's this and he's saying that. He hasn't even won anything yet, right? Today showed me at the end of the day his experience. What experience he's got. Because from the first half of the day, because what Man United was doing, yeah, from the first half of the day, right, there was attacking Trent's side. Have you noticed that? Every attack was coming down where Trent was, yeah? And there's a reason for that, because they know at the end of the day, Trent moves out of position. He always moves out of position, and it will leave space. He will leave space there. Do you know what I'm saying? And they will attack the space. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So really and truly, at the end of the day, right, the tactic side. That was all happening in the first half. That was all happening in the first half, right? So, wouldn't you think this is a good idea now? And think that, right? You lose a goal, and it's because Trent was out of position, yeah, right? Because Trent should be covering that side. You lose a goal, you get back another goal, yeah. So it's all level now. And then at the end of the day, what happens, right, is that you get a penalty, and you're 2-1 ahead. You've got the 3 points, yeah. Wouldn't it be prudent at the day is to take off Gravenberch, bring on Endo, you know what I mean, right? Take off Trent and bring on Bradley. You waited till the 80th minute, right, till Man United equalised, make it 2-2, for you to bring on Bradley. For you to think, oh, we've got a problem here. We're getting got out here. Oh, let me bring on Bradley. It's a lack of inexperience, my bro. And how are you supposed to win something, win things when you got a manager in the day, right? A manager, head coach, or whatever you want to call him. How are you supposed to win things with that when you got one that doesn't make the tough decision? Do you realise that in the day, first game of the season, I think we played against Ipswich, and Kwanzaa was playing, and Kwanzaa made those mistakes. Yeah, he hooked him off straight away and brought on Konate. How come he couldn't do that for Trent?
Yeah, I do question his substitutions today, because I feel like they were not timed correctly. The end of one, several of us have mentioned it earlier on today. 12 man, we got 12 man. I mentioned it earlier on as well. That was a time to bring on a defensive-minded midfielder onto the pitch. 2-1 up. We needed to just play a different game now. Don't need to play for that third goal. Play that different game. Just hold it off a little bit. Have a destroy in the middle of the park to kind of clean up when required, because they're going to try and get that second goal, aren't they? And it just felt like we were just trying to go for that third goal. We were a bit naive. Let's be honest. We got put into a position where we should have maintained the ball better. We should have managed the game better. I think we had like 20 minutes left because Salah scored in the 7th minute. Those are the kind of crunching times where you've got to be a bit more of an astute coach, where let me, utilize my squad. And I don't feel like he does that enough. I don't feel like he makes enough substitutions in games. And he doesn't utilize his squad. And I don't know if that's down to having faith in certain players, but sometimes it's not about having faith in certain players. If you've got a player on your bench that you know his strength is tackling or, you know, chopping ground in midfield like an Endo, bring him on. Bring him
Thing
on
is,
for the purpose of what we need a player to do at that time. He hasn't got to be spectacular, but he's got to just do the job to get the win, to get over the line. So that is an area I do agree with. I do feel like Arne Slot probably has shown elements of, you know, lack of experience in those kind of moments. Although there has been a lot of games where he's shown good substitutions, like you mentioned, the Ipswich Town one, which I thought was quite ruthless because it was his first game and he took off a guy at halftime, which normally doesn't happen, especially under Jurgen Klopp. But I feel like he needs to be a bit more leveled up and try and do that per game, not just here and there. This was a game where, yes, we're playing a team that's 14th, but it's Manchester United at the same time.
they made us look like we're 14th.
We didn't play great today. No, not at
No,
all.
but the thing is about it, even with that Kwanzaa thing, yeah, I can understand that, yeah. But where I say it and they sort of like he was wrong is because at the day today and that day he could have made the same kind of substitution because in the first half he was it Trent wasn't having a good game for the first half, yeah, and there was the attacking inside. Every attack came down Trent's side, right? So what you do is either you stiffen up that side, so you're not so Trent's not getting overrun, yeah, or you take him off that and put something in that's going to hold their position. Do you know what I mean? And plus, only get forward when he needs to get forward. Because even that Real Madrid game, right, that Real Madrid game, which Bradley's playing right back, right, he only got forward when he was supposed to get forward. You know what I mean? Other times at the day, he held his position. That's what we need. Do you know what I mean? Yeah? We made them look good. They put 3 at the back. And everybody was saying that look, if they come to Anfield and put 3 at the back, right, it'll be footballing suicide for them. Yeah? Hear what? They did that today, and they come away with a point. And you know what's dusty about it, right? Yeah, is Dusty Maguire could have won the game for them. Dusty Maguire could have won the game for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, right, we all know at the end of the day, right, that Robbo ain't got the legs anymore. We all know he ain't got the legs anymore, right? Yeah. So he's battling over on the left-hand side. Because what it was at the day, because at the day, like they brought on Conor Bradley at the day, they weren't getting a change of on that side anymore. Yeah. So they started to target sort of like Robertson and stuff. Do you understand what I'm getting at? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right. And they started to get a bit of change in it. They got the ball in, and all that thing had to do was to keep. If he kept that on target, that's 3-2 to them. So how have we gone from sort of like battling from 1-0 down to 2-1 up to nearly losing the game?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Against a team at the day that's 14th in the play. Make no mistake, this is the worst Man United team that you will ever see. Yeah? And this has happened before. Last season at the day, right? We played the worst Man United team that we saw. We got beaten in the cup by them. Yeah, 4-3, right? Individual mistakes again, right? We got sort of like in the league at the day, we drew 0-0 at Anfield, and then 2-2 at Old Trafford, and we could have won that one had sort of like Luis Diaz kept that on target.
Yeah.
Now, to me at the end of the day, right? This is the frustrating thing about it. The frustrating thing about it. You got a guy at the end of the day. I know a bit far, but you got a guy at the end of the day called Richard Hughes at the end of the day, which is supposed to be the sporting director. Yeah, right. He's supposed to be the sporting director. Now you are supposed to get these contracts sorted out. That's your job, mate.
Yeah.
That is your job. So I don't want to hear no excuses and this and that, right? That is your job. But what are you doing? He's supposed to be on holiday with his missus in Italy. What's that all about, Pratt? What's that all about? You're supposed to get your contracts done. So really and truly, you've got people talking about, oh, we need to sign 2 players in a January transfer window and this and that. Mate, if they can't even get these 3 contracts sorted out,
internally,
what makes you think at the day they're going to sign players? It's not happening. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Trent Alexander, right? At the end of the day, right? The way he's playing has got nothing to do with Real Madrid because he's been playing like this for a long time and everything like that. You know what I mean? He's been playing like this for a long time. Even at the beginning of the season, I think. Remember at the day, Fulham, he got caught out. Yeah. Newcastle, caught out of position. And there's other games that the day he got caught out of position. You know what I mean? Even like the Nottingham Forest one, when they're sort of like, you know, when they just beat us 1-0 and I think that he's getting caught out of position then.
Yes.
Do you understand what I'm saying? He's constantly getting caught out of position in the day, right? So what you do at the day, you say, look, you make the hard choices in the day and say, bro, right? This is how we want to play football in the day, right? You got to hold your position in the day, right? This is what I want for you to hold your position. Yeah? If you can't do it, you're going to have to hold the bench and I'll bring in Conor Bradley. I'll put Conor Bradley in the fit that, right?
Yeah.
And then obviously when you learn to hold your position, you come back in. Apparently, at the day, they had a big bus up in the change room. Apparently,
today. Okay.
Today with Trent, Darwin, and Virgil van Dijk.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about that.
Yeah, you know what I mean. And apparently, Virgil, what it sounds like to me, that Virgil van Dijk was having a go at him. So, he's probably saying, Trent, and you're not holding your position. We should have won today. Darwin, you're coming on the pitch and you ain't doing nothing. Remember that apparently that to separate their mans there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like this is what we got to in everything now. You got certain players in the squad and everything now, right? That are not doing a job, yeah. And then you got a head coach and everything head coach that is not the one. That's what this is the main reason and why I wanted Amran at the club. Do you know what I mean? Because he'll make the hard decisions on players that should play and players that shouldn't play. And we got the squad to play three at the back. The joke isn't that Man United ain't got the squad to play three at the back. Well, they've done it today.
Yeah, they made it work.
Newcastle. Do you realise that the dusky Newcastle, went to Old Trafford, right? A couple of days ago. They went to Old Trafford, and they had the game won in the first half. They had the game won in the first half, 2-0 in the day. And then what they did in the second half, they just like play football, took the foot of the pedal, just made sure they defended. Do you know what I mean? And literally they let Man United have the ball if because they knew at the day Man United weren't going to break them down. You know what I mean? And look at today. Today, we were struggling to get the first, second ball. Yeah, we wasn't defending. We wasn't putting in crunching tackles. Do you know what I mean? You know, wasn't holding their position. Do you know what I mean? Man, got a head coach at the day that was scared to make the right substitutions. You're making the substitution at the day when you made that substitution at the day when Man United equalised on the 80th so minute in the day, right? Yeah, I think it's like 82 or 83 in the day. You decide to bring on Conor Bradley and decide to bring on Javier. What the hell are they going to do at the day in that time?
They should have been born a long time ago. I was saying around like the 55th minute, like hour mark. Like bring them on at that time. Give them half an hour. Because Trent was already showing lapses in his game. So I feel like from the first half, you know that moment when Hoyland went through? I feel like from that moment his game just went downhill. And I feel like, you know, his focus wasn't there. And you're right, he does have these moments in games where his concentration level just drops a little bit. But that's for the manager to kind of analyze and realize that, you know, if his levels are dropping around the hour mark, bring on Bradley. We've got another player that can come in and do that shift. So Trent can be used for that hour, but then use another man for the remaining half an hour. Like utilize your squad. This is what I'm saying. I don't think Slot utilizes his squad very well. So that's something that I would definitely criticize on Arne Slot. In terms of him being the guy, I still feel like he's had a great season so far. I know you've not been a fan of his since he was appointed, but I'll give him the benefit of that. It's just one of those games that, you know, it just didn't go off. But having said that, there are sort of gaps in our team that I feel like we need to make sure that we're consistent with in terms of how we play, because we've got a 6-point gap, which doesn't sound like a lot. Obviously, got game in hand as well. But like these are the moments where, you know, we should be ripping teams apart. We've got Forest coming out, and I feel like that's a tougher game than it should have been for today.
I feel they're beaten today.
I would not be surprised because they're in great form. 5 wins out of 5. They're third or fourth in the league right now. They're sky high right now, they're cloud 9 right now. So that's the team that beat us earlier in the season. So there is no guarantee that we're going to go there. It's an away ground. they're going to play the low block. That's of course, and you can't
Yeah.
fault teams from playing that way. That is how you beat a Liverpool because a Liverpool team struggles to beat low block teams. So I don't blame them in terms of how they do tactically. So let me go through some of the comments because a lot of the comments are
Yeah,
aligned.
yeah,
Comments,
go.
they're aligned to what you're saying. So let me just read it out for you. To our Songs 4K saying hi to you, to Uncle Ross. Big up yourself, Songs 4K. He said, Dustin says the first goal was disorganization by everyone who was there, not a Trent thing.
It
I
was
don't
a
think
Trent.
we've won great today, but I think in that moment, I have to fault Trent because it was just like
Trent
just
should have had
lack
that.
of
Trent should have
focus.
had that side covered because remember that day, remember that he got put through and everything. That then what it was, Martinez came through and scored. Trent should have had that covered. There's no
Yeah,
way that Martinez at the day should have been able to come through, cover your side. Do you know what I mean? It
yeah.
wasn't just like everybody. Do you know what I mean? It's cover your side. Don't worry what everybody else is doing it for them. Cover your ends. Do you know what I mean? That's what you got to do. And simple as that. And he hasn't been doing it. That's why I said Trent.
No, I agree. That's the three players, no one covered. I feel like the way Bruno Fernandes just walked past him, and I say walk, literally, he didn't run, he didn't breathe, he walked past him, and then he's just like finding the right time to thread it to Martinez, and then Martinez goes past him, and then you see Trent show a bit of legs to try and go, but at that time it's too little, too late. So the ground should have been covered before that moment had happened, but you've let one player go, and then the player behind you's gone past you as well. So it's
It's just,
not just to pinpoint Trent in terms of him having a bad game, but that was his error. He should
yeah.
have done a lot better there, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Songs 4K says Klopp wanted the risk slash reward with Trent. I don't think Slot does. Well, Slot has a different way of playing. It's not the same way. So he wants a proper right back in that position. So that makes sense as well. Songs 4K says Slot did take Trent off in a couple of games early season. Remember his sock? He socked a few times, but
Yeah.
then I think you come to realize that there's a reason why, because he was
I like
getting
that. I like that. I like that.
yeah, yeah,
You know what it is about quick? What it is about Slot? It's not that I dislike Slot because at the end of the day, I'll give Slot praise when he's due praise and criticism when he criticism. The only problem, as I said a long time, that I've got with a Slot, I just don't think he's got the experience
yeah.
to handle a team like Liverpool and to take Liverpool where they want to, where they need to be. I just don't think he's got that. Do you know what I mean? I may be
Fair.
wrong. He may prove me wrong, but I just don't think he's got that. But him as a person, I
Yeah.
don't dislike him because I don't know him. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like, I just think at the day, what it was with FSG because FSG appointed him. What it was with FSG, they went and took the cheaper route. They went as always. They go for the cheaper route. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So you may not be successful, but you know what? It's successful with their pocket because they don't have to spend that money and this and that,
Mm.
and they can literally tell him what they want and what they want him to do. Do you understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? They didn't want another Klopp situation. So that's my only sort of like problem that I got with a Slot is the fact that I don't think he's got the experience that we need coming off a Klopp, coming for Jurgen Klopp. You need somebody at the day that's going to take you to that next level and higher. And I just don't think Slot's the person to do that.
But it's not a wild shout. You're not saying anything incorrect. Like you have a valid reason to say that out loud because let's be honest, when Arsenal was appointed, I didn't know too much about him. I had to do a lot of research to not like I'd heard of him in terms of what he achieved at final because I know they were in the Europa Conference League not something like 2-3 years ago. So I was aware of him, but I didn't know his credentials in terms of what he has achieved as a manager, what he brings to the table. So obviously, as content creators, we do our research and try to find out what we do. But having said that, even when he was the manager at the beginning of the season, for me, it was like a learning curve to understand what his philosophy is, how he wants to present the team, and going forward, are we going to be a end-to-end type of game, or are we going to be a bit more high possession? Now we know we're more of a high possession type of team, so we're learning that as the game goes on. I'm hoping, you are right, he doesn't lack that experience. He lacks that experience at the highest level to manage a club like Liverpool. I'm hoping, as this being his opening season, whatever the outcome is, obviously Touchwood will be winning the league, but whatever the outcome is, these games are going to be those big turning points or those big lessons that he needs to
Learn.
gain that experience going and in terms of knowledge, but also realize that we can't make these mistakes going forward as a big team because the Forest defeat he's definitely taken mistakes from that. So much so he talks about it every week. So you know that that is ingrained in his mind. So he's always so it's a good sign for me that that is a coach that doesn't think he's too big for his boots. I feel like when we had Brendan Rodgers, I feel like he was that guy who thought he was it, like he
He's
was the
fraud.
man.
He's a fraud, man. He's a
He's a
fraud.
fraud. You know what? This guy, he's a young coach. He's
Yeah.
learning. Arsenal, I can see that he's learning. The way he talks, very transparent, says it how it is, but in a nice, modest kind of way. Rodgers thought he was like Mourinho times 1,000. Like he thought he was the
I
guy.
know. He
And
started speaking.
he
You know what this guy said one time? This guy said, he goes, the guy's a fraud, right? He goes like, one time he's taking a team talk, a team training, something like that, right?
yeah.
And he started speaking Spanish, right? He goes, but the joke was there's no Spanish in the room. You know what I mean? He goes, what's this guy on about?
Do you remember? I remember we did the documentary when he first became manager, and he
Yeah,
had this nonsense thing where he had those 3 letters, and he
yeah.
was like, "Oh, the weak player is gonna be one." Like, what kind of
So,
Arteta
no,
nonsense training ground shit is that? Like, it
no,
was just
it's-
ridiculous.
I'll tell you what, the other day, right?
Yeah,
The mistake he made in that documentary is when he had a go at Ryan Sterling. Ryan
Sterling.
Sterling never forgave him for that. That's what a lot of people got to realize.
Yeah,
He never forgave him for that. And they're quite right too, because what he did, and he kind of buoyed him off in front of everybody and
belittled
and
him.
on TV as well. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Some players at the day, it's only because Sterling was a young kid at that
Yeah.
time. Some players at the day would have said, "Look, listen, come off camera." They would have come
Yeah,
to come off camera and speak to
yeah,
me like that. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah.
I just from that time there, I just don't think at the day that Ryan Sterling never forgave him for that. He never forgave
He
him.
left a bad taste in his mouth, 100%.
Oh yeah. And that
Yeah,
was wrong to do. That was wrong to do to him.
yeah, definitely. Storms 4K says Slot could have told Trent to sit in defensive position after 10, 15 minutes. Yeah, he could have, but with certain players, it doesn't tick. I just don't feel like Trent was in it today. Like his focus just wasn't quite right.
Yeah.
Whether the Real Madrid news was a distraction, only he can answer that question. But look like he could have played a part. Could have played a part.
Mm.
Songs 4K says, LOL, imagine if Martinez and Maguire had scored from open play. Look,
So
that Maguire chance, I was laughing afterwards because it wasn't like, haha, he missed. I ain't gonna lie, I was a bit relieved he didn't score because I think if
no,
he
it is.
scored the winner, hey,
I looked at it. I was like, oh my god.
we would be the laugh. It doesn't matter what we win this season, that would be like a laughing stock moment because you'll never hear the end of it. Maguire
Maguire.
scoring the winner at Anfield, come on. I mean, crazy. Crazy right there. Dustin says we were never losing. Yeah, it didn't sound like we were losing, but when you see a moment like that, you just like think, bloody hell, like anything could have happened there, right? You know?
You know what? Then Dave, because had that Maguire being a better player, he's putting that away.
Yeah.
He's putting that away. Had he been a better player, he's putting that
He
away.
went for the wrong technique. He went for Saka. He should have laced it. If he had laced it,
Like,
I would have gone
you
in.
know, all he had to do at the day was side foot it and day, and sort of like,
Yeah.
the far corner,
Yeah,
That's all
yeah,
he had to do. You know what I mean? He didn't need to put so much power there. That's what I'm trying to say. Had he been sort of like a better player than what he is, we would have lost the game. We're looking at 3-2, mate. We got to be thankful that the day he's dusty.
Yeah. Martinez was bad enough. Yeah, he irks me though. Martinez, like I was like saying all sorts during my watch along when he tried to step up to Jota before the penalty. And I was thinking if I was on that pitch, I was giving him a little slight elbow during the game,
Yeah,
man.
a little side digging the ribs. You know what I mean?
I'm telling you, trust me. He's just one of those like annoying people on the pitch you face against when playing football. The fish was
You're
crazy.
my kind of people, you know that, innit? You're my kind of people, you know that, innit?
Trust me.
You're my kind of
The aggression comes out on the pitch, I'm telling you. Dustin says that finish was crazy. I'm not gonna lie, it was a good finish. Gary Neville went a bit overboard saying it's Ryan Giggs-esque. That was a bit of a mad comparison there. You know what I mean?
You know what, right? You know what Gary was like, anyway.
Yeah, he's annoying.
He's the same person at the day. I said all we need is 4 good players in the day, and we're going to challenge for the league. He gets the 4 players in the day, and now he's saying that the whole team needs gutting.
Never knows what he's talking about half the times, to be fair. Some sport case says Hugh is 0 for 3 on contracts and bought a player made of jelly. Yeah, he certainly did. Dustin says you can't blame Hughes, blame Edwards. If you blame someone, I'm gonna blame both because it was Edwards that got appointed first. He was probably asked to bring in a sporting director and probably said, you know, who would you recommend? And he's like, I'll recommend my boy Richard. And that's what he did. He brought his best mate in. And they are, and I'm not even like saying it to take the piss. They are literally best mates off the pitch.
Yeah,
so,
they used to work at Portsmouth together, didn't they?
Yeah, exactly. So he literally brought his best mate in. So was he brought on credentials or was he brought on just to be another power at work? I don't know.
You know what I used to call it? I used to call it mates race. That's what I used to call it.
Yeah.
It's mates race, isn't it?
It's not for life. Seriously. So until he doesn't do anything, you can't. Like, he hasn't done, like, he done the Chiesa deal. And we spoke about this earlier on as well. That was not a tough deal to do. That was a very simple deal to get done. So until he doesn't show me anything, you know, if he gets all 3 contract extensions done, honestly, it's a great job, but he should have done it anyway because his players are already internal. They're already part of the project, right? So I don't think that's a tough job. But if he gets it done, I will definitely praise him for it. Don't get me wrong. But next summer, I want to see new players come in. And I want to see credible players as well. Not just some random guy from like all over the world. Good players come in. So that's going to show me that this guy, he can negotiate for the big players. He can do this, he can do that. No, he's fraud. He's on fraud watch in my mind.
The fact is that I would literally like to see somebody coming in January. I bought another body coming in January because I've looked at Ryan Gramerch's last 3 games, and I was talking to Fuzzy earlier on. I looked at Ryan Gramerch's last 3 games, and he looks fatigued. He really looks fatigued. He looks knackered. Like today was one of the games that today reminded me of the Southampton game when he looked really knackered. Do you know what I mean? Because he's what he is, and he's doing a lot in midfield. He's defending and he's getting forward. Defending and getting forward. He's doing a bit like a Henderson role, sort of like. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I just think at the end of the day, you can be in danger at the end of the day, right, of burning this kid out. You know what I mean? I just don't see why that this kid has to play so many games when you've got a destroyer on the bench. You've got a samurai destroyer on the bench, my friend.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Don't utilize him.
And because what should have happened at the day, what he could have done at the day, right, is like, you know, because I always think at the day sometimes playing Jones further forward is sometimes not really the best idea. It works, don't get me wrong, but it's not really the best idea. I think I prefer him more in midfield. You know what I mean? I think he does a lot of his best work when he's actually in midfield. You could have played Endo and Curtis Jones in midfield, yeah? The 2 in midfield doing a double pivot, right? And then what you could have had at the day is like McAllister as a 10. Yeah. Just think how much damage that would have caused. Do you know what I mean?
We could have had different variations. Just bringing on Endo would have just changed the outlook of the whole game. Whether he's alongside Gravenberch, Jones, or whoever, we needed a player like that just to add a bit of stability in our midfield because we were on the front foot. We got the goal, but we've got to try and hold it in a little bit and just try and hold on to that lead.
Would you say game man? Would you say we was lacking game management today?
Yeah, I think after we got that goal, the penalty, we just looked like we were going for the third. And you know, in hindsight, probably thinking, yeah, that was a good way because we're an aggressive attacking team. But I know this United team are jammy. They're not a good team. But the thing is, they will have a moment on goal at some point in time, and they'll try and get that equalizer. And that's what ended up happening, right? That's what Amad Diallo, like last year, the only reason why he's in this team right now is because he scored that goal against us in FA Cup. That was his first game for them after coming out on loan, I think. So he had a touch moment last year. He had another moment today where he gets the headlines, getting the second goal. So, and he was by far not involved in this whole game. He just had that one moment, and now he's getting a huge praise. So for me, we didn't manage the game correctly, and that's why I feel like a player like Endo would just come on and just added a bit of steel to our midfield. And just close up shop a little. We didn't have to be. You don't need to add Kwanzaa or defender. I think a midfielder would have just given us a bit more legs and try and shut them down because they look like they found a bit of rhythm as well. And I feel like the last 10 minutes, they actually started playing some decent football. So, yeah, I do feel like we should manage that game a lot better, in my
Not,
opinion.
not better.
And then Songs 4K says, happy to blame Edwards if he's on contract. I think it's Hughes that's on contract.
Yeah, it's huge. That's
Edwards,
the sporting director. It's a
yeah.
sporting director.
Edwards is there for the bigger picture. He's there to acquire a second club for
Yeah,
FSG
yeah.
and and be the head guy for the football operation. So Richard answers to him in terms of like giving him updates about contract situation, all that stuff. It's Richard's. That's his job to do. So he ain't done nothing. So he's got nothing to answer right now. Dustin said it's his project. He just got here from Bournemouth. He did a good job at Bournemouth. It's different levels, in my opinion. Different
Yeah,
levels, and I don't, he's had enough time to have some sort of impact, whether it's making a signing or a contract extension. It's been more than 6 months. I haven't seen anything from him. Schmecker came in for 4 months and bought 4 players. So
yeah, innit?
yeah, so I need to see something. I can't defend him. I can only cuss him right now because I haven't seen anything. And I'll be that first. I'll put my hand up and say straight. Do you know what? Richard he surprised me, He signed Hato, he signs with Mendy. Like if he does that, then I'm gonna be honest and tell you guys, look, I'm impressed.
Yeah,
But I have nothing to kind of feed off right now. He's not done nothing. We're still, as a fan base, obviously we're a lot more mature and have a bit more of a calmer head. But a lot of our fan base are on the boil right now when it comes to Trent, Salah, and Virgil. It's like no one knows what's going on. So they're dishing out all kinds of abuse here and there. Like that's not justified, firstly. But secondly, it's because they don't know what's going on. And if you're a sporting director, you're supposed to get things done. Whether it's you even communicating to the fans and say, look, guys, we are working on the contracts, it will happen soon. Something like that. I know that's a bit unorthodox, but we're not hearing anything. You've just told me that he's going on holiday. So you
yeah.
hearing
That's
stuff.
what my man told me the other day. He's on holiday in Italy, man. I was like, what's he doing over there, mate? You got work to do over here, pal. The thing is about it, I think people get it twisted when it
Yeah.
comes to what us, right? When we say about Richard Hughes at the name, right? At the end of the day, he will get the credit and get the praise when he's deserving of the praise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, he'll get the criticism when he's deserving of the criticism.
Yeah.
At this present moment and day, right, he's deserving of the criticism. I know this thing at Bournemouth at the day, but what you got to think about it today is different levels. And arguably, they're probably doing better now than what they was under Richard Hughes. Remember that day they bought that fella from Porto, innit? The Brazilian for Porto that's banging in goals. Semenya's banging in goals and stuff. You know what I mean? So they're probably arguably doing sort of like better now than what they did under Richard Hughes at the day, right? Yeah. If he's done a good job at Bournemouth, all right, then it's different levels in the day, right? Show me what we can do here then. And so far, you haven't shown because the fact of the day, that Keita deal, right? This is how easy this Keita deal was, right? A couple of seasons ago, he's £100 million player. Yeah? If you want the Keita, you have to pay £100 million, right? We got this guy for 10 million, rising to 12 million in a day. That goes to show how much they want to get rid of him. They was literally pushing the guy out the door. They literally pushing him out the door. They did not want him here. They didn't even give us. They didn't even give him a. Juventus did not even give him a squad number, my friend. Yeah, so that was easy. So all right then, you know what I mean. You've done that now. If he's a baller, as people think he is, yeah, right. How comes that the day he didn't sign for Varela at the day from Porto when Varela got offered to Liverpool for 80 million? How come you never signed him for that?
Yeah.
How can you went in there and say, look, all right then, you know what? I'll give you 55 million up front, yeah, and I'll pay the rest in installments. At least at the day they get a big chunk of money up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or negotiate something, yeah. All we heard in the day, all those rumors are rubbish, and they ain't flying to Porto. Yeah, they were rubbish because you weren't flying to Porto. You never had no intention of flying to Porto, even when they put ideal and then they sort of like opportunity in your lap. They just put that in your lap and say, yeah, here you go, just 80 million for that, and you said no. So really and truly, and they so what have you done that can impress us.
There's nothing to work on right now. So yeah, it's true. And the funny thing with Bournemouth right now, apparently they're buying a player called Julio Soler, who's an Argentine left back, and we were linked with him last summer for 12 million. So they're
Say no
making that
more.
signing now. So
Say no more. Say less. And we
yeah,
need. And the thing is, a joke about it, we need a left back, don't we?
we need a left back. That's nonsense.
Say
You
less.
can't make this stuff
Say
up.
less.
Dustin says I really didn't want Amorim. I Uncle Rose was a big advocate for Amorim, but I think everyone, has a different opinion on that.
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a good. He's,
Yeah, he's a good coach. Yeah,
he,
I wouldn't
he,
say terrible just
he,
because Man United coach now.
you know what it is? He's a good coach at the end of the day because he's proved it by his resume.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Braga, which was a club in Portugal, and then which was underachieving. He got them winning stuff. Do you know what I mean? So much to the fact that the day that sort of like when Sporting Lisbon saw that and brought it to Sporting Lisbon. Now, when he kept to Sporting Lisbon, if Sporting Lisbon, it's one of those teams at the day, right? They're in that kind of like top three, sort of like clubs in Portugal, like along with Benfica and Porto, but they still weren't winning much. However, when Amron went there and for that, all of a sudden they started winning this, because he's a good coach. You know what I mean? You understand what I'm saying? So he probably would have been ideal for Liverpool because of the fact that we have got the squad to play that sort of system that he wants. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
yeah.
So he'd probably been ideal for Liverpool. So, but make no mistake in the thing that Amron is a good head coach, good manager, however we want to put it.
Yeah. He
What
is.
he,
No, he is. Yeah.
yeah, he is. What he will do at Man United, I don't know. I don't
It
know.
depends if he's backed. If he's given the players that he needs, I'm not saying like star players, but for his system, he needs proper wing backs, for example, and he needs certain type of midfield. So if he's given that backing, then I feel like he could shape that team the way he wants his team to be presented. But that's another debate there because right now the rumor is that they're not spending any money this month. They
Yeah,
can't.
no, they're not going to. They spend too much money. They've got people in the squad and they're on big wages. They have to get rid of people before they start bringing in.
It's very true. That is literally how it is. Dustin says today is today. Next games he can sort it out. Is that in regards to Trent? Yeah, of course he can. Look, when we talk about players' performances and stuff, it's literally just for today's game. I'm not gonna have an agenda. I'm sure Uncle Roz will neither in terms of Trent. We're not gonna bash Trent for the rest of the season. We just didn't feel like he had a good game today. And it's simple as that. We'll move on tomorrow and then talk about the next game, and then we'll say how great Trent is as well. So it's just how it works. So we're not, dismissing the player at all. It's just that from today's game, I didn't think it was great, and neither did Uncle Rose. So that's just our assessment of the player.
Yeah.
Dustin says tough game. I think we'll win. I hope so. I hope we do against Forest. Songs 4K says Forest are a tight unit. Nuno's smart. It's a crunch fixture to defend our lead. It's not an easy game. It's a game that I am concerned about, if I'm being brutally honest.
Oh yeah.
Nathan FC Take says Bradley would have been on earlier if he wasn't just back from injury. Slot is very savvy, and I believe he would have made the move earlier if Bradley was fit. That is a fair point, I guess.
No. Can I say something?
Go for it.
Yeah. Into that. So my counteraction to that is, if that's the case, why did he start with Kanata to then? Kanata's just back from injury.
Yeah, they both. Yeah, both.
You know what I mean? So really and truly, you've taken a chance on Kanata. You put him straight in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you at least give Bradley 45 minutes?
Yeah, or an extra 10 minutes because he came on after like 10, 15 minutes. So another 15 minutes, wouldn't have. Yeah.
Yeah, you could initially you could have actually started with him because you've taken the same philosophy with Kanate.
Yeah.
So you can take the same philosophy with him because he's just literally just come back from injury. I didn't even know that he was going to play today. Someone told me today that he was in training. That's what I'm saying. And then I looked at the thing and said, "Right, Kanate is in." I thought that's a bit quick, isn't it? So really and truly, it works both ways at the day with Bradley. You know what I mean? Because they both got injured at the same time. That's what people got to realize. They're injured in the same game.
Yeah.
In the same game, they got injured and everything that, right? And they was out at the same time, and they came back at the same time. So if you can start with Kanate, you can start with Bradley.
Yeah,
Bradley could
I
have,
think
Bradley
it
could,
would have depended on the injuries because I think Konate was it a knee injury, right? And then
yeah,
Bradley's was a hamstring injury. But having said that, I
I
didn't know
think
he was on the bench until half time. I had to go through the subs. I was thinking, oh, Bradley's there. So
yeah,
when I thought, I'm thinking, oh, he's got to come on at least play for half an hour minimum. But he came on played for about 10, 15 minutes. So
that's not good
if he's
because
available, he should be able to play a lot more than 10, 15
oh yeah,
minutes.
he should have been on there because you got to think about it. It's like Bradley walked off the pitch,
Yeah, yeah,
and like even after the game, he came back on the pitch and everything. And he's
yeah,
walking.
yeah.
Konate limped off the pitch, yeah,
Mm.
and never came back on. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you would think at the day that Konate's injury was worse than Bradley. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he started that game today. Yeah. So really and truly at the day, right? Bradley could have at least got 45 minutes. That's my point of it.
Yeah, I would have been satisfied with half an hour at least. So I just feel like
Yeah,
with some players, you see how they're doing the opening 10 minutes, and if it ain't working, then you put on another player. So
yeah,
30, 40 minutes would have been justified for me.
yeah.
Dustin says, agreed. If he shows this is a learning curve, we'll be fine. I think that's in regards to my reference for Arnold Slot. If he takes it as a lesson, yes, I agree with that. Someone spoken says maybe Slot will learn from this. Virgil Konate might say Bradley's more reliable. Well, as soon as Bradley came in, he did a crunching tackle on Ganacho. So yeah, he definitely he definitely knows what he's doing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah,
I love that
they
kid.
can-
Don't you? I
I
love
love
that
him.
kid.
I love that. I love it when he does that. And
Yeah,
he almost scored a cheeky goal. So close.
yeah. He's quality.
Uh, he was probably Dustin said, I'll never forget the day we sacked him. Um,
That's
and
Brendan
back
Rodgers. Yeah.
yeah, Ben Rodgers, yeah, that
I
guy's a fraud.
celebrated.
Yeah, that guy's
I went
a
and had a
fraud.
drink and I don't even drink alcohol.
Songs for cases, Maguire had time for a touch. Yeah, he's not built for that kind of finish, you know what I mean? He could have had like 5 million touches, he's still no shot on target.
You
So
know, he's just shit in it. You know what I mean?
he's not built for that. So Nathan said the Maguire man would have been offside. I think you're right, but I've learnt from this season and previous season as well. I don't trust these officials.
Ready to
Even
whistle
when they
it.
draw the lines on the screen, that
I know.
line seems to be wonky at times for me. So yeah, I can't rely on officials, but you are right, Nathan, because I think Zetsky was in an offside position before that cross came. But yeah, I don't trust these officials. So bit of PTSD there, but yeah, I don't trust them. So it is what it is. Dustin says I was relaxed. And then John still needs experience because usually he got injured when he got rhythm. For me, it's not experience. He just needs to try and stay fit and play a bit more consistently. That's the only thing with Jones. I don't question his ability. I think he's a really talented player. It's
Yeah,
just finding the consistency in his game and try and stay fit. And he's done it in large parts, but yeah, it's just one of those things where if he can get over those small muscle niggles that he gets, then you know he's pretty much part of the first team. And he plays a lot of games, so it's just that we've got a player so both like ahead of him in the pecking order. But the good thing with Jones, he can play in the double pivot, can play in the number 10, so it gives us that flexibility from the bench as well. So no, an important squad player in my opinion. Source 4K says Ozzie spoke about Hughes in relation to contracts and dropped Slot's name in the mix. Songs 4K, if you have a reference or a quote, please drop that in a comment because I need to know what was said. Um, yeah, I don't have any.
Osteen spoke about Hughes in relation to the contract and dropped Slot's name in the mix. That could mean anything.
I need to know in what context because
Yeah.
can't we drop a man's name and not really say
I know it is.
what is the man, you should be doing your job and trying to get the contract done. So
Yeah,
I need to know what was said. Um, Dustin saying, I'm just saying Edwards hired him. Yeah, he's his best mate. I'm telling you, that's his homie right there, man. Just like, come, let's
it's
do this
they
thing.
marveled in school together, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was hooking up a mate with a big time job. That's all it was.
Yeah.
F and T R, I get you now. The buck stops with the boss, not the monkey. I'm not sure what that's about. Uh, Dustin said Edward is the return. Yeah, look, his return hasn't been that graceful, if I'm being honest with you. Because he hasn't got them a club. He tried to get Bordeaux. I think he was trying to get Leon. Hasn't happened. So you know he hasn't
and there
delivered
was
for FSG either.
and he was partly responsible for Klopp leaving him.
Yes, he
what I mean?
was. Yes, he was.
Yeah.
Edwards was a Kieler fan for years, apparently. Look, we all were at one point, but you got to assess the player right now. Was he like? Because obviously, I'm gonna go off by reputation that he's a great player from what I've seen over the years. But I don't have the access to his data metrics where it tells me in terms of his injury records, and obviously I know his injury record. Like, he hasn't been injured that much, to be fair. But they've got the serious data to analyze if he's able to compete in the Premier League. Like, that's the kind of data we wouldn't have as a fan base. You don't get open access to stuff like that. So, if they're so drilled into data, that should have been, something they looked at before they signed Chiesa. So, look, I'm still vouching for Chiesa to have a good season for us, but as this day, he
Got
needs to get
playing
on.
though, isn't you? You got to play him, innit?
Yeah, he can't play him. Until he doesn't get on the pitch, I can't really say anything either. So I gotta wait for that to happen. Songs 4K says Slot sounded really annoyed about K's latest setback. So he's mentioned that quite a few times during the season. And shout out to Jamie Phillips. I had him on my show a few days ago. He says that he's got a gut feeling that Keza could be loaned out. And people might think that's a wild shot. I don't think you completely rule it out on the basis that whenever Slot talks about him, he seems irritated. Oh yeah, he's injured again. So if someone keeps getting injured, a loan move kind of makes sense for all parties. Where he goes back, gets a bit of match fitness, then we can assess him in the summer. But at this stage, that's just me speculating right now. So you never
But
know. But
he's available at the moment, isn't he?
he was
That's
on the
been
bench today.
what?
He was on the
He's
bench
on,
today. So
he was on the
I'm
bench.
hoping he gets some game time because we've got Tottenham on Wednesday and we've got Accrington Stanley on Saturday. So he needs to play one of these games.
He needs to play both of them, man.
Definitely needs to be involved. So let's see what happens. Nathan says, we can't say they're coming back at the same levels of fitness. Bradley is expected to running and down. Bradley was a muscle injury. Ibo was an impact one. Also, Konsa would have been bullied. I wouldn't have Konsa in the team anyway.
But the thing is that day. What the thing? Sorry to cut across you. The thing is that
No,
day.
go for it.
You go with what you go with what you got, and you go with what's best for the squad. Yeah, you could have put in Kwanzaa and said, "Look, Kwanzaa, just fill him up with sort of like this." See, this is what I'm talking about, man management today, right? Some players at the day you need to speak to them and say, "Look, you know what I mean," and give them encouragement and give them a confidence. You know what I mean? Yeah, and that's what I think. That's what Jurgen Klopp did to a lot of the players at the day. He was like their dad, their second dad. You know what I mean? And he done a lot of stuff. Anyway, the thing is about with Ibu, right? Ibu's injury was worse than Bradley's injury. Yeah. So what we're saying today is this, Nathan. What we're saying today, if he started with sort of like Kanate, yeah, Bradley could have got at least 45 to half an hour today. He could have got that, if not started with Bradley, because you started with a player that's got a worse injury at the end of the day than the other. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, because thing was a knee injury. It was a knee injury. A knee injury that they can be very bad. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Muscle injury, you know what I mean? I'm surprised at the day that he was out so long. But like on the levels of injuries, Ibu's one was worse. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of makes no sense at the day that you start with Ibu, but then at the day Bradley only got 15. No, he didn't even get that. He didn't even get 15 minutes. Because remember at the day he's brought on like something like 81 or sort of like it would have been 15 minutes because we went up to 97. Yeah, so we got. I think he went up to. He got a ball in about 82 minutes. Do you understand what I'm saying?
They played about just under 20, yeah.
Yeah, so basically, and they sort of like, and then when he comes on and everything, he does a crunching tackle on Garnacho, and from that now, you see what happened today is from that happened, and then they remember and they targeted Robertson. They started to target Robertson and everything. Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah,
so
because they switched focus, yeah.
They were shook, you know what I mean? Yeah. So this is what we really needed it, and that's why I'm saying it. And they sort of like, I would have give sort of like Bradley 45 minutes because what it was in the first half, Trent wasn't having a good game. There was getting at him all the time in the first half. So I would have said, look, let's switch it up, bring in Bradley on 45 minutes and give him a good run out. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, give him a good run out And then what would have happened at the day, right, is that Bradley and they would have put a crunching tackle on whoever was there and everything that, right? And everybody scared and switched it to the other side.
Yeah, it's
The only
true.
person who would get his foot in.
Yeah. Also, personally, I probably wouldn't have played Konate for 90 minutes, but I think he was probably forced to do it just because how the game was panning out. Because
Yeah,
Konate has come back from, as you said, Uncle Rose, a bit more of a serious injury. It was a more of an impactful one, wasn't it? So
yeah.
he already had his knee strapped up in the game. And I saw at halftime as well, his other knee was cut up, like it was bleeding quite a lot. So he went through the trenches today, man. So for me, I would have played Konate for I feel like Konate is the more important player for this team. So for me, Konate should be. That's what I said earlier in the show. I wouldn't play Konate in that Tottenham game. I probably wouldn't even play him against Accrington Stanley. I would rest him now and save him for the game against Nottingham Forest because
yes,
I don't want him to be overworked right now. The Tottenham game, I don't feel like we're going to have any issues with that one because they are a team that play one way, open end football. So we'll get through them, no problem at all. So you can play a Kwanzaa there if you want, or you can put an Endo if you want, whatever the preference by the coach.
Mm.
Konate is not required for that game. And Accrington Stanley, I don't want none of our first team players in that match. I want it to be
no.
the squad players that don't get much game time, like Endo, like those type players, and Kaiser. And I want
What
youth
about
players.
Elliot? Would you have Elliot in there?
Yeah, I think he deserves a bit of a running because I would probably play him in the Tottenham game. In terms of minutes, might be an hour, depending on. I don't know if I'll start him actually, but he'll definitely be involved in the Tottenham game. And then actually, I will start him against the Tottenham game and the Accrington Stanley game. I think Elliot needs to get a bit more game time
He
because I
does.
feel like he's not getting enough, and I feel like he needs to find that rhythm again, and then we'll see the real, true Harvey Elliott. So I saw him in both games. So yeah, I'd play him more. I'd rest the rest of the squad for
Oh
that.
yeah. Rest him for the Forest game. I just
Yeah.
don't think these games that's coming up. I don't think a lot of first teamers that they have got business having any sort of like
Yeah.
part of those games. Just rest them, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. Song 4K, big up for yourself to reference the comment you made earlier. So Ornstein, who tells NBC Sports Soccer that Slot and Hughes want the pair to sign 2-year deals as new renewals. So is the pair referring to Salah and Virgil or Trent and Salah? So just want confirmation on that. But obviously, it would depend. If it's Virgil and Salah, yeah, because from the rumors that I've heard, they don't want 2 years. They want 3 or 4 years. So 2 years might be below their expectations. But if they're given, you get those deals and it's like 2 years plus a year extension, then I feel like that will meet both
Yeah.
parties, and that'll be like a good deal in the middle to kind of facilitate the whole thing.
Oh
So
yeah.
hopefully that happens. Yeah, hopefully that happens. Dustin says, I agree with Roz about Kwanzaa. Be up yourself there, Dustin. Songs 4K says, we've all been told Slot doesn't do contracts, so why is his name beside Hughes? I'll be honest with you, Songs 4K. I'm surprised his name's even involved. It might be because Hughes ain't doing his job, so they got to put someone else in the frame. You know what I mean? Hughes ain't going to go down by himself, so he's like, let me put on Slot. I don't know, because
You're trying to bring in next man.
yeah, he's head coach, guys. Remember, he
Yeah.
will not have the final say. He will definitely be consulted about certain situations like contracts, like potential player profiles, but he doesn't have the final say. If they've
You don't
got
have no say.
a selection of 3 players to sign, Armstrong will give his opinion, but remember, we have a transfer committee, so it will be based on what other people vote as well, and that player will be signed. He doesn't get the final vote, if that makes sense. So
No, it makes sense because I think what it is, the job of a head coach, because they're doing it in the American style, right?
yeah,
The
you
job of a
coach
head
the
coach
team.
at the end of the day, it's like you. It does what it says in the tin. You coach the team, yeah, right. And basically, what they will do. This is how I got told it works. Basically, what they do is like people like Richard Hughes, Mark Edwards. Well, let's say Richard Hughes, yeah, will go out and identify a player, yeah, and he'll get the go ahead to sign the player, and they bring this player and say, right, coach this player, right, and what they're saying at the day, sort of like with that, why it doesn't really work, it's because the player's profile might not suit at the end of the day the head coach, so you might not be able to do anything with him,
Yeah,
but he's got to do something with him. Do you know what I mean? Unlike a manager now, a manager today is more hands-on. He will like, literally seek out and work with the sporting director and the other people that are involved and acquire the player. But the head coach has got no say in what goes on. He just gets a player, and his job now is to coach that player.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they can get him anybody. They can even get him something like I don't know, Harry Maguire's brother. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they can get him something like that. So they'll just say, yeah, coach him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's true though, isn't it? You know what I mean?
That's the modern day of playing a football club now. It is through sporting director. He'll select the players, and then the head coach does the thing. So big up Songs 4K. He just mentioned the pair is Virgil and Salah. So that's a slight concern. I'll tell you why it's a slight concern, because I don't think they want 2-year deals. I think they want 3 or 4-year deals. So let's say they're like, oh, we don't want that. We're not happy with those terms. That sounds like Slot is going to get the blame for that now, because Slot is apparently part of that discussion. So I hope that that's not the narrative, because that's not how it should be. We all know it's Richard Hughes. It's his job to negotiate the deals. Arne Slot is the coach, the head coach of Liverpool Football Club.
Yes.
He's only there to coach the team and do the on-field business. Off-field business got nothing to do with him. So
Yeah, that's what I was doing. It's like you sort that. That's your business. You brought me as a head coach.
my name into the mix.
Yeah, I have to coach the team. It's like, for instance, that day, sort of like, if you've got a restaurant, you've got a cook, then you've got the waiters and waitresses, the head cook and they don't go out and serve the food. He makes the food, you know what I mean? He makes the food, and then the waiters or waitresses will come in, collect the food, and put it, give it to the customer. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is.
Yeah, everyone knows their role. So
Exactly.
stop trying to. I hope the media's not trying to like add grey lines right now, because look, everyone knows their role. We know what Arne Slot does. He's not part of the discussion. So yeah, let's see. Let's see. This contract talk stuff is gonna go on and on. We won't find the resolution until end of the season. If I'm being brutally honest, I don't think it's gonna be solved that quickly. Uh, Dustin says, I guess now is the time to sort something because fans lost patience. And Sons 4K says Slot must have input and a vote. He has a vote, he has an input, but he doesn't have the final decision. That's what I was saying earlier on. But
I
Hughes is
don't
there
see,
to do the deals. No need to name Slot. Yeah, I agree. Songs 4K. Slot should not be named in that article or that interview whatsoever. He's got no involvement.
I don't even think I understand what Songs is saying. Yeah, I understand what he's saying, but I don't even think he has that, because that is not the role at the end of the day of a head coach. You know what I mean? Yeah, the head coach is just to coach the players, so they can go and bring in and then they like whoever. You know what I mean? Whoever, and then his job then and then is to like say right to coach the player, because what Edwards don't want. This is why he's brought in Richard Hughes and all that, and this is why they brought him on his slot. Because what Edwards doesn't want, he doesn't want another clock thing. He doesn't want another power struggle. You know what I mean? Power struggle. You know what I mean? He wants what he says goes. Do you know what I mean? Right? And you just do it. Do you know what I mean? But what it wasn't, and when he was trying to do that last time, when he was a sporting director, when he was trying to do it for some players on Klopp was saying, "Look, I'm the manager. I say what players come in." Do you know what I mean? And he didn't like that. That's why he left momentarily. So now at the end of the day, they got like Arne Slot in. He's not going to want a repeat of that now. Do you know what I mean? You get what you're given. It's like one of them ones. You get what you're given, and you be happy about it. Do you know what I mean? So basically, like for instance, if you as a footballer, they might approach you and say, right, and then they do all the signing, transfers, and all that. You know what I mean? And they say, right, they bring you in and everything. That say, right, this is your head coach. You go to your head coach, and then they can say, like, Arnie, coach this guy, and that's it. That's it. He's got no say, no vote. It's just a situation that he gets what he's given. So this thing about sort of like Arnie Slot has that time to bring in his players, the players that he wants. He's never going to get that time, as long as he's a head coach. If they change his role and make him into the manager, well, then he's going to have more input. But they're not going to do that.
No,
not as long as Edwards around. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, they're not going to do that. So people really and they have got to get used to this regime and used to what's going on. Because remember the day, you got like John W. Henry, what his name is, right? He's on his yacht in America somewhere or France or whatever, yeah, and just chilling and there, and he's got like Michael Edwards running the club. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to. It's what I'm trying to say. Is it's like, you know, don't think that sort of like Arnie Slot has got more power than what he has.
Yeah,
because he hasn't. Do you know what I mean? Simple that he hasn't got it. You know,
yeah.
I feel sorry for him, but you know that's the way it goes.
No, because that's the questions that was asked when Arne Slot joined. Are you comfortable with the style or the the format at the club? And he's like, that's how I operate in Holland. That's how it is in Holland. They have sporting directors, and the coach is the head coach. That's why there's such a strong focus in Holland with regards to coaching, because that's literally how they nurture their young players. So there's more emphasis on that rather than managing, because I feel like that became more of an English thing at one point where, the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson, became the figure of that club. Everything went through him, right? So because of that, the owners don't really have a lot of control. He has the pulling power, he has the final say. And Jurgen Klopp got that towards the latter stages of his reign at Liverpool. And I don't think FSG enjoyed it because he had too much power. He had too much of a say, and that's what broke down the relationship between Jurgen Klopp and Michael Edwards, because there were targets, or for example, just as one topic, transfer targets. Edwards might say, I've got a list of players due to our data metrics. They're the ones. Klopp's like, no, I've seen them from my eye test. They're rubbish. Get these guys. So they clashed. That's why it was left.
Yeah,
So it's as simple as that. So this is the way how a lot of teams operate across Europe. So it's not a crazy scenario. Like even in the
it's
Premier League,
not.
I know that's how West Ham do it, and that's why
It's not.
they haven't been that great this season, because the sporting director signed a lot of attacking players, but they appointed a defensive coach in Lopetegui. So that did not align very well, and apparently
Yeah. That's what.
it wasn't the sporting director that made the call to sign that coach. It was their committee. Does that make sense? So even
Yeah,
he
that's what.
didn't have the final say. So it's just how it works in the football world. But
That's always
no,
a problem. It's always going to be a problem, though,
yeah,
isn't it? It's always been a problem. That's what I'm trying to say. You bring in a player, and you might not, as a head coach, you might not be able to do anything with him. At least at the end of the day, if you when they had that manager system, at least at
yeah,
the day, some of these guys that they would had the eye test and they saw the players at the day that they could work with. As with like Mane, Sadio Mane, that's why he was such a success at Liverpool, because Klopp's already seen him at
yeah.
RB Salzburg.
He wanted that in Dortmund, didn't he? He
Yeah,
wanted
he
to
wanted
sign
to
him.
go. Yeah, he
Yeah,
wanted to play. That's what I'm saying. He's already seen him and he's done his eye test and then so he knew exactly how he was gonna fit in to the club and what he was gonna do. And it
yeah,
worked out. Do you understand what I'm saying?
mm,
So I always say it's a bit kind of tricky having that head coach thing
yeah,
and like put it this way, you can have that head coach business, right? But the head coach should have some input of who's coming in.
yes,
You know what I mean? Who he has to coach and everything. But at the moment, with the head coach system, and he
mm,
hasn't got no say. He just gets the players and he coaches the players. Get the
and the
players.
thing is, sorry to interrupt you. And the thing is, right now, because let's put Chiesa to one side. We haven't really signed anyone, so we don't know how they operate now. Because you've made the perfect example of the Mane one. Klopp wanted Mane at Dortmund, right? So when they were piling up their list of transfer targets, because it was early days for Jurgen Klopp, it was his first summer transfer window. The relationship would have been good between Edwards and Klopp, right? So he would have asked Jurgen Klopp's input in terms of who to sign, and he would have recommended Mane, right? Now I don't know what the dynamics is, because it's not Edwards, it's Richard Hughes. That's the sporting
Yeah,
director. So we don't know how he operates as a sporting director. Is he a stubborn guy? Is he someone that listens to the manager, or does he just buy whoever he wants? So this is a big talking point, because we'll know about this in the summer when hopefully we will buy players. But right now we don't know, because if they don't have a strong relationship where Arsenal has no involvement in who gets recruited, then that is a problem. He might not have the final say, but he needs to be heavily involved in
yeah.
that process.
He needs to. I think that's my only problem with the head coach
Yeah,
system in the day is that you know the head coach is not properly involved in that that sort of like system of the transfers, like what goes on with the transfers. You know what I mean? And I think that's a bit poor because at the end of the day, you're asking a guy to literally coach an unknown player, something that you don't know. You may know him, but you're not the head coach, are you? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So you know, I just find that a bit poor. You know what I mean? And I find to myself, look, if you're gonna have a head coach, the head coach and it's got to be involved. He's got to be involved. No doubt. He may not sign the player, you know what I mean? He may not sign the player, but he's got to know what he's getting. They've got to say to him, look, we're looking at this player, right? We're looking at this midfielder today, right? He's got this and this and that right attributes. Then what do you think of the player, right? Want your feedback, and then what is it? The head coach can give the feedback. I said, I don't think you really fit us. Think that, right? You know what I mean? And they'll say, well, how about this one then? He goes, yeah, I think that one's better for what I want.
They have to work as a collective. That's how it's going to work. If they don't, then it's going to break down. And Song's 4K comments is literally what we're saying right now. So we'll see how it goes. But I'd want Slot checking the shortlist, and priorities. So that makes perfect sense. So it has to be. There have to be a combination, which is probably why the article mentioned Slot and Richard Hughes' names together. Because if you remember when Arne Slot was appointed manager, I think Hughes was in the same press conference as him. So it felt like they were a two-man team kind of thing, the way they were presented. So I'm hoping that is the case, but I still think Richard Hughes is a fraud because he hasn't shown me nothing. So until we don't sign anyone, I can't say it's a great dynamic or they're a great duo because right now, Snoop's getting the praise because he deserves it in terms of what we're doing. But the other guy ain't pulling his weight right now, so he needs to do something and get some players for us. So.
If he comes out with a sign in this January transfer window, if he comes out and signs in the transfer window and it's a good signing, I'll say, are you moving, Richard Hughes? Yeah, good.
Yeah. I want to be impressed. I want to be like, whoa, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be that kind of like, okay, I see what Richie, I see why we went to Italy. He didn't go there for holiday. He signed a plan for us. That's what I want to say. But but I know he's having a pina colada on his beach right now, so I know he's not doing that. So
he was pasta in it. He's Italian speaking, isn't he? He can speak Italian, can't he?
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, because I'm in the army. Was his dad was in the army or worked at there?
Yeah, so his dad worked for Penguins, that book publishing company.
Oh, right, and it was Italy, innit?
So he was around, like he was based in Italy quite a bit. So he ended up playing for Atalanta at youth level. Apparently he was close to signing for AC Milan, but he didn't think the move was right for him at the time when he was a kid. So he's got strong links in Atalanta. So that's why he's based there. But
where's Edison then?
Just tell me about it, Uncle Ross. Should be easy to know. I'm sure he's got contacts there. You know they call him the Notebook because apparently he's got all the links, but he's not showing it. So
you know what? He's a fraud, man. He's a fraud.
Let's see. Dustin says Klopp wanted money for years.
Yeah,
people say it's Edwards signing so weird. Yeah, I think because they worked as a duo, I think that's why we get a bit misconstrued in terms of whose signing it was. It was a collective decision that they wanted money, but you're absolutely right, Dustin. It was Klopp that really wanted money. We knew money was linked with Dortmund beforehand, before we even got the Liverpool job. So no, that definitely makes more sense there.
You know, Mane. You know, he's a Mane. Right? I'll be honest with you. I didn't rate him at first. You know.
Did you not? Okay.
No, I didn't rate him at first. I thought, what are you buying him from? Because I didn't know him from like obviously Austria and then players
from
Southampton. And Southampton at that time of the day, right? They were sort of like, there wasn't, there was kind of like, trying to get there and this and that. Do you know what I mean? And what are you buying this guy for? I spent a lot of money on this guy. I saw the guy. This is before. There was a link with this. The link with this guy, and I think that right. It's going to cost them something like 26 million or 30 million. I think that right. So I was like, "What are you buying this guy for? I'm to you. You know what I mean, right?"
Yeah.
Listen, I see the man play against Liverpool in the day. Yeah. And it it was at Southampton.
Yeah,
We beat them at Anfield. Yeah, it was at Southampton, and Mane didn't play in the game at Anfield because he was injured. Right, but he played in the game at sort of like Southampton. He come off the bench. We was winning, and he come off the bench. He twists up all those Liverpool players. He twists them up. And I think he scored a hat trick or something like that. Either a hat trick it's either a hat trick or he banged in 2 goals that sealed it for Southampton because they beat us. You know what I mean? He was unbelievable. I said, nah, we got to get this kid. We got to get this guy. I'm so we got to get this guy. And then was it the same summer we signed him. But when I saw him play and I saw what he can do, I said, "Oh, this player, and then he is a good player." Now I know why Klopp wants him. He was quality. What he did to the Liverpool players that day, what he did, was it Dejan Lovren and all them man there, Lucas Leiva and all them man. He twisted them up inside out, my friend. Inside out. You know what I mean? Inside out, and he banged in his 2 goals in the day, right? And 2 quality goals, right? But he just had Liverpool on toast that day. Do you know what I mean? And he come off the bench, and from that, I saw that. I said, we need to sign that guy. We need to sign that guy. Signed in the summer, and he went on a day to do the most amazing things for Liverpool.
Yeah,
I would go so far as to say, and I rated him more than Salah.
At the time, he was sensational. At the time, even when Salah came in, so when Mane signed, I thought good player, like you said, like he showed good glimpses in the league. But I was like, is he gonna go onto that next level? I didn't have like a certain mind for him to be like he will. But when he scored that goal against Arsenal in that debut game, I'm like, we got someone special. When that goal happened, I'm like, we got someone special.
You know what he did, when he just pushed man out of the way and just went
I love that. And left footed smashed in the top corner. And then the Salah signing as well surprised me because that opening season that we had Mane played right wing for most of the time. So I was thinking, when we signed Salah, I'm thinking Salah, I've never seen Salah because I was aware of Salah. I watched Salah at FC Basel, and then he went to obviously Chelsea, didn't do well, went to Fiorentina, then Roma. So I followed his career. I was always thinking, he's a good player. But I think he never plays left wing, so why are we getting him? Then I did my research on Mane, and apparently Mane used to play left wing at Salzburg. So I'm thinking, they're trying to do the old setup now. So the rest is history in terms of what happened. But it goes to show when you see a player and you're like, you know what, he's the guy. Sometimes you just have that feeling. For me, it was Van Dijk. When I watched Van Dijk play that season, I was thinking he's the one. So when we were linked to the same family, I'm like, I don't care. This is the guy that I want as well. So there's a lot of players like that,
When I heard that we've linked with him, I didn't really know much about him, but when I heard we linked with him, I watched a few games, and then when he played with Southampton and that, I was like you. I was literally like you. I go, we need this guy. We need this guy. This is the piece to the puzzle, and it was the piece to the puzzle because he went on and done amazing stuff. I remember sort of like when you're looking at sort of like the Champions League, the one that we lost. But he had Ronaldo on toast because they really thought that Ronaldo's going to twist him up. He had Ronaldo on toast. I remember Ronaldo got a counter attack and literally Virgil van Dijk followed him all the way to the byline. He just couldn't get away from Virgil van Dijk. Do you know what I mean? So there's some players at the day that you look on and think,
he's the guy.
That's the one. That is the one.
Definitely. Dustin says Klopp said he had final say on signings when he joined us. He did, but that's when Klopp joined. The dynamics might be changed. So right now, I think it's a bit of a grey area. We're assuming that is going to be the same format, but we haven't made no signings. I know Chiesa is a signing, but we haven't really made a lot of signings for us to suggest that he's on a slot signing. If that makes sense. So we'll see in due course once we get some players through the door. Songs 4K says Mane's intensity blew me away early on. His legs were made of steel. Yeah, he was a machine, absolute machine. Defensively, attacking wise, everything about him was just industrious when he played. phenomenal player.
I really, really, really still miss that player.
Yeah, he was really good.
I remember sort of like was playing Man United. One of the last times that they obviously had Mane in the team. I played Man United. This is why I know that Mane was special. Very special player, right? He got the ball and there and he just chipped it around. He just chipped it round to Salah, right? He didn't even look. He's standing like that, yeah?
Mm.
He's facing, he got his back to the Man United defenders, yeah?
Yes.
And he's facing the cop, right? Right? But he's in the Man United defense, right? He's got the ball and he's pass it round over, and I think that, right? And then obviously Salah's run onto it and just stick to the back of net. The pass that day was sublime. I'll tell you, it was so sublime and everything that if Messi done a pass like that, they'd be right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He was just such. What I like, why I used to say that I preferred Mane at the end of the day than Salah because Mane was a better all round player than him.
Yeah.
Mane could play in the right wing, left wing, through the middle. He will pop up with midfield. He'll pop up with defense. He was just a better all right. He did things at the day that Salah couldn't do. Salah couldn't do the things that he done, and it was a shame and upsetting at the day that he never got the recognition of what Salah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was a really special player. Do you realize that the day if we kept Salah, if we kept Mane and Salah for more longer, I reckon we'd have won more.
Yeah, I think so as well.
We'd have won more. And I think, and I also think as well that Klopp would have stayed. He probably would have stayed. You know what I mean? But it just wasn't to be, was it?
I missed this comment earlier on. By the way, Bayern Gibson might be the guy. So I was thinking about this other day. So this is a guy from Dortmund. So you haven't seen Uncle Ross, do check him out. He's an English winger that plays for Dortmund.
Yeah, I heard about him.
He's really quick. He's really good. So I was thinking he actually could be a target for us because with Luis Diaz looking pretty much at home playing at central role, it leaves a vacant space in that left wing position. So maybe we won't go for a striker in the summer. Maybe we'll go for a left wing instead and have Diaz as the main striker alongside of Jota if he stays or whatever. So you can't rule out a left winger, in my opinion. Obviously, things will be clearer once the season closes, but he's a player to look out for. He's very talented. He'll cost a bit as well. Don't get me wrong, but he's a player to look out for. So he's next one on their big transfer list in terms of selling because that's what they do. They buy young players and they sell them on for big bucks. So he's one to definitely look out for.
They make him into really good players, though, don't they?
Yeah, because he's getting game time. He's like 17, 18. So he's getting a lot of game time from them. So yeah, he'll definitely set up. Song says Mane is setting off down the line for the minute silence was intensity at another level. Mane was just superb in every shape or form. Down the line, I think something that goes under the radar is actually his defensive duty, where he helped out the fullback and did it to a great level as well. And then straight away on the counter attack as well. So he was a machine, every shape or form.
He just
Played at very intense level throughout his career. So yeah, just a shame. Obviously, his time ended at the club, but we still have good fond memories of Mane. That is also the last comment, and that is the end of the show. Uncle Roz, thank you for coming on. Nice having a chat with you.
My pleasure. Every time I come on, always have good, interesting chats with you, man. It's great. It's great.
I know, appreciate it.
You calmed me down a lot because I was fuming after the game. You know,
we've got to like dissect and just speak about other things as well, and it just helps. Like it's a bit of therapy, isn't it? Just talk about other things. It's still football, still Liverpool, but we're talking about different things, and obviously the chat helps as well, asking us questions as well. So yeah, big up to the chat and big up to Uncle Ross for coming on. Thank you for your time. I'm sure we'll be chopping it out very, very soon. So yeah, big up yourself as always.
Love and respect, and guys, smash the like for my Bredgin's channel, man. Smash the like, man. He's doing brilliant work around there, man.
Appreciate it, Uncle Ross.
Smash the like, man. I want to see bigger likes on this thing here. You know what I mean? You know how it goes. But bless up, one love, brother. Yeah, take care.
Please take care, bro. Thank you. And that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for everyone for tuning in. We'll go through the comments in terms of who sent comments today. So big up to Abdul Rahim as always. Big up to Songs 4K. Big up to Dustin. Big up to 12th Man. Who else do we have here? Big up to Uncle Ross, who commented initially, but also came on the show. So big up yourself. And yeah, great show today, guys. Thank you, everyone. And also Nathan, LFC Takes as well. I think it's the first time I've seen you on the show. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for engaging. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. In terms of upcoming content, tomorrow I will be doing a Premier League Match Week 20 review. So I'll speak about all the games that have taken place this weekend. There's another game tomorrow, Wolves versus Forest. So that's a game that I will quickly touch on. So my show will start at 10 p.m. tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, I've got a match preview of the Tottenham versus Liverpool game, which is the Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. And Liverpool 12th man will be on the show for that one. So look forward to that. And then we'll do the watch along for that game on the Wednesday, plus a match reaction. And I will also do a match preview of the game between Liverpool and Accrington Stanley. And then Saturday we'll do the watch along. So early one, 12:15. So we'll do a watch along for the Accrington Stanley game plus a match reaction later on the day. So lots of shows coming your way next week. So please make sure you hit that notification bell so you know what time I'm going live. And yes, that is it for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Take care, stay safe, and I hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.